Hello. Good morning, or yikes, good afternoon. Whenever I teach at one, I'm in the in between, what really.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, I'm letting everyone in. If you're here, let's head over to the chat. And let me separate the chat. Here we go. And let's give a hello. Good afternoon instead of good morning, which I was about to write again, because, just to be consistent. Hey everyone. Hope you're staying dry-ish. I've been insisting on my walk, so I've been going out for a walk every day for the last 3 days. It's fun with lots of raincoat support, of course. And now I've got 3 pair of wet shoes that I have to somehow dry out within the next month. But as long as I keep having dry shoes, I can keep going for my walks. All right. Let me see. Can you hear me? Yeah. Oh, no one's answering.
Yes, we can hear. I can hear you.
Good, good. So, hi Josie, hi Blas, hi Marta, and hi Mary Jean.
Hello.
And I am hoping Yolanda has been trying to join for a while. Um, Let me write to her in the waiting room because she's still in the waiting room and it doesn't seem like it's connecting. I'm wondering if people are having bad connections. I'm telling her to disconnect and try again because I'm letting her in, but it seems like it's stuck in processing mode. Oh, she's gone from the waiting room. Let me email her. So there's so few of us, and 2 people haven't been able to connect. I feel like there's something wrong with the connection. Well, I'm assuming some people might be having issues with Wi-Fi. Blas, I know you're in Bakersfield. Are you as well, Marta? Did
She's
anyone?
in Santa Barbara.
Okay.
No, sorry, I was having trouble unmuting myself. Yeah, I'm not. I'm in
Maybe.
Santa Barbara.
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe it's okay over there and not over here. But if you're in Santa Barbara, yeah. Where? Let me email Yolanda, who is trying to get in twice. She's tried to connect and twice has been kicked out. Let me give her and I'm having, okay, let me just say, please try again. Okay, let me see if that gets to her. And then I don't know, there were 2 other people trying to connect, but I didn't pay attention to who they were at the beginning. So I don't know who else might be having issues. Anyway, I'm going to stop. I don't know. Should I let people know that to try again? Hmm. I'll send one more email to everyone. So you should all be getting it because I'll send it to everyone. Okay, so you would probably get it too because I'm sending it to the whole class. Even though you're in here, just ignore it. I'm just sending the link telling people to try to join again. Okay. Meanwhile, we will get going. All right. Cool. So, the first question, hi, by the way, now that I'm dealt with whoever can join will join and whoever can't. The first question I have is, how many of you guys managed to take all those different media type photos? Remember that we were going to try out all the stuff on your phone and see if you got something that you hadn't done before. Like we were going to try some panos, some slow-mos, some time lapses, things like that. If you did that, give me a yes. Here we go. Let this up. All right. And how did that go? Did you find something new that was interesting, or it's good to know? Or did you take a nice photo somehow? Oh, look at that cute kitty that you have there, Mary Jane.
I have another one, and I took a picture of him walking up this little cat steps onto the bed. And it was funny because it was like 6 seconds, but it was like, whoop, whoop. It was
I-
very cute. Never thought of doing that before.
So that was the time lapse version. That's so cute.
That was a
And
fun one.
it would be interesting with the cat to do the same thing with slow-mo and then see him like all the muscles move.
Never thought to do that before. Yeah, yeah.
It would be fun. All right, good. Yeah, hey, that zipped up those stairs, those steps. Hi, Georgia. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, it's that kind of scarf day, isn't it? I have my blankie on my legs. Um, just trying to get to stay warm. Okay. Josie, did you manage to do anything? Um,
Okay, you go here and
oh,
here.
and then Blas and Marta, you guys said you did. Oh, so Blas, what did you experience that was different with your phone? What style did you photograph that was different?
Well, I had done most of everything you had suggested. I didn't do the slow-mo. I didn't find that useful for me, but all the other stuff, panorama and
Okay.
video and stuff, all that stuff I had done before. So yeah.
Cool. And by the way, the slow-mo isn't that it needs to be useful. It's just fun to know it's there because, for example, when I tried that with the faucet that I showed you guys, it's like, yeah, who cares about a slow-mo of a faucet? But then when I was hiking and there was this beautiful stream and this flashing around the rock, and I thought, oh, that splash could be fun. So then I turned it on there, and it's a beautiful little video of the water burbling around a rock, which again, I mean, it's just for me. It's not like I'm going to do anything with it, but um, it's fun to be able to know that the camera can do that in case you come up with a situation that you find that it's good. But yeah, I don't think I haven't purposely used it for anything other than that a waterfall and a creek. Again, I think of water for that. I think that for other things, I don't know what else I would purposely use it for. Cool. Marta, what do
I I've used all of the others. I already had samples of everything, other than the time lapse is the only one that I had not done. So I did play with that. I just panned around the room just to see what the effect was. So
Mhm. Cool.
it was interesting. And like you say, in case you run into something that might be useful that maybe you hadn't thought of.
Yeah, and in particular, the time lapse, it's hard because you need to find something that's really slow that would be fun to see fast, like Mary Jane's little kitty going up to the bed, like something, what would you want? And if you think of a flower opening, those things are great, but you need a tripod, you need to set the camera, you need to be intentional about it, right? Other than that takes a long time. So other than that, and it's great to know that. What I did once for fun, I was looking out of I was this summer when I was in Spain, I was in a park where they have this fountain where from like you can walk around it with some steps. Anyway, from the top looking down, lots of people had gathered to dance out in the open. There was this someone was playing music and they were having next to the lake this they were just all they would dance to a song and then they would change the partners, everyone, just people who walked up and just wanted to dance in a very different way. I'm thinking like the drum circle here, maybe in Santa Barbara, but like people just joining to dance and going away. And I was at the top. So I pointed my camera, I held it against the rock and I pointed it down at them and I pressed the time lapse. And suddenly people were like zooming through, and again, it was just gimmicky. What am I going to do that for? But it was, again, just little things where you suddenly think, okay, how can I do this that's a bit more original? And it wasn't a great job, but it was fun to see them whizzing around. Anyway, cool. Josie, I saw you appear and disappear. I don't know. Do you have anything to share about any images you took or not really?
Yes, I do. Um, I did the slow-mo. I
Uh-huh.
had to do a few of them until I got the birds because next door to me, I live in a complex condo, and next door to me, the lady that lives there, she leaves it like for all the animals to come. It's on the deck, actually. So I always see a big flock going going to her house and then also coming back to the tree, which is just right across. So
Okay.
so I waited because I wanted I've seen them. I see them every day and they're like this huge flock. And it happened,
It
and I love what I got because in the end, being that it's slow-mo, all the birds going like this look like fish.
Wow.
It really like a
A
school of.
flock of birds. Oh my God. You need to, if you have a chance to share your screen to show us that video, that would be so fun.
I love it. So that was the most fun. Um, the one of what's the other one? Time lapse. I
Yeah.
tried a few, it didn't work out, and I just gave up for now, but at least I know what it's about. And
Okay.
then Pano, I've done them before, but to do an intentional one, for some reason, I didn't capture it like I thought I would. And I must have deleted because when I went to the computer to look for it, it wasn't there. But I have other panos. So, I mean, I have done them in the past.
No,
So,
it would be great to see the flock of birds if you want to.
yes, yes. Well, when you want me to share, I'll share because it really, I was really so
If,
happy.
if you're ready, go ahead and share while I greet everyone who's been joining us. Hi, Georgia. Hi, Alan.
Okay.
Colette. Thanks for popping in. And Sarah, I haven't seen you in a long time. Nice to see you in class. How are you? You're all muted, by the way. If you're trying to speak to me, I can't hear you. I was concerned that people weren't coming, and so two or three people tried to connect and popped in and out and never connected. So I was hoping things were not technically an issue.
Yeah,
But
I'm not sure that I can go to it on the computer.
oh, you don't have it on your computer yet?
Well, I think it's there, but I only have the one screen and my camera. So I don't want to go get out of where we are now in,
Oh, because you're not connecting on your computer. Got it.
right. I don't have two.
On your phone. Yeah, on your phone it's harder. So that's okay. Well, if you ever connect on your computer, that would be fun. All right. Hi, Kristen. Okay, so people were sharing with me some successes or not so much that they got doing the practice of taking all these different mediums that they might have not tried before. And it was fun hearing Josie describe that she photographed a flock of birds in slow-mo that were coming to eat off of her neighbor's deck or porch or whatever, like food feeder, and that it was really fun. So if anyone else who just joined us wants to share about something that they did that they hadn't done before with their photos, trying out different media, this is the time. Otherwise, we're going to get going. So did you all try the different types of photography? And was anything in particular stand out like, hey, that was cool to know, even if I don't know when I'll use it? Because most of us take just straight photos, right? Or straight videos. But it's good to have to know that the other things are available for whenever you want them or need them. All right, everyone head over to the chat, please. And give me a hey ho, I'm here. And again, welcome back, Sarah, for I don't think I've seen you in months. And let's now, I'm going to head over to the screen and I'm going to share my computer. There we go. So what you're seeing now is my computer. And once again, the work that we just did, the idea was to go over to all these media types and to photograph with your phone a different type of photo so that you would get more choices here. And to have, so whatever you did with your phone should have transferred to your computer as long as you're on the iCloud, which everyone in this class said they were. It should have transferred automatically. And thus you can then see it. And I'm thinking, if anything didn't work that you tried or it didn't transfer, like you did a time panorama and you're not seeing it here, that's the kind of thing that I might want you uh to talk about. But if not, we're going to move on. Um, did anyone try the one that I had showed you, the portrait, where you take something with farther and forward, two different levels, like something in the back and something in the front? And the idea was to see how you could alter the focus. Did anyone try that one out and have any good solutions to that one? So just switch your photo in portrait mode and make sure to take a picture where there's a foreground and a background. And it can be, this flower in that background. This is, face and background, or it could be something relatively subtle, a group of friends, as long as they're in perspective like that. So there's the front and the back. Or in this case here, as at the train station, me and my bike. So something like that. If you have something that's flat, that's just right, all of it in front of you, say this one, there's a bit of back there to become back or front, but there's not that much to play with, right? So you want to have a photo where there's front and back to make the difference. So this is an example. This is all front. At most, I can blur the green that's in the background or front, but and if this was all very sharp, that might be a problem. So remember, how we would do that is when you open it to see it, is to go into this edit mode, which we're going to be working with in later. And then up here, you would see where you can put the background in or out of focus. Now, when we go way out, it becomes kind of fake. See how the whole edge of this lion's also going kind of weird, and that turned into a murky mess. So there's some good place in between. This photo per se, I guess if it's really sharp, it could distract from looking at the lion. So just a little bit less sharp helps you just focus on the lion and not to have all the millions of little leaves in the way in your visual, presence. And that's really what it's all about. So just a little bit is enough. See, I don't need to do all that to see it. In fact, that looks really many times these things look pretty fake if you take them to the end, but just a little bit just breaks that sharpness. And then suddenly you're just looking at the lion. Anyway, I'm going to bring it back to there.
Question, can you do that with a regular photo or is it only with a portrait?
Portrait photo.
Okay.
Now in Photoshop, I know how to do that with any photo, right? But if you're in inside of this mode right here, you're kind of stuck with it has to be a portrait photo. And then there you go. Now you can, this one's a bit weirder because I was thinking, how does this one work? Because it's so this is in focus right now. And this is gently out of focus, or this is in focus and that doesn't really go gently. That's because it's the angle is taken from the bottom, so the computer doesn't really recognize it did go a little bit off focus, but not as much as the lion where it went really off focus, right? So it depends on the photo. You want to try it with different things until you learn which one it works better on, and then the ones that it works better on when you really want it, you can. Okay, cool. So we're done. Not that we're done, but if you have any other questions or anything like that, let me show you one more thing. When you click on media types, on the word media types, you see each one of these words, videos, selfies, live photos, as its own little album. Now, these aren't albums that you have created because today we're going to be creating our own albums, but ultimately this is what they are. They are albums. Now, what does an album mean? It means that it's a organization of your photos, an easy way to find them. So if I go to each one individually, if I go to videos, or if I stay from here and I want to go into videos, then I can double click to go into videos, right? I find it easier to just click in here instead of double clicking. But if this were closed and I didn't have it open and I wanted to go to one of these, right, instead of having it open, then I would just select that word and then I would double click, right? And if I double click, I'd go into it. Now, what an album means is that it's been organized, separated from the library in order for you to see only, in this case, videos or only selfies or only live photos. But, and this is the really important thing I want you to guys to really register, it doesn't mean that this video has been duplicated. If I go into videos and I see this video, that doesn't mean that this video doesn't exist, only exists here. Rather, it's, and I wish we could do this in real life, all these videos, all these selfies, all these live photos exist in my library. Okay, so here's that video. If I look at the videos, there's that same video, right? But if I go to the library, here's that video because it's one. It is not one video here and one video there. It is just one video that exists right here. And it's like, let's put it under things that it might fit. And it fits in this album as a video because it is a video. Now, if I had in my personal albums a place where I had, for example, photos of bridges or something like that, and I had made a little album called Bridges, I could drag it over. So let me assume that this is this, instead of saying to be edited, it says were to be called Bridges. I would go, oh, let me put it under Bridges, right? And then that video is still there, but it's also under videos. There it is. And now it's also under over here. There it is. It's under, say that this were to be bridges, right? It can be in 3 places. It can be in 10 places. So the reason I'm saying that is because we're going to be creating our own albums right now. And you want to understand that, say a photo of my sister, right? Say a photo of my sister, she could be in an album called Family. She could also be in an album called Trip if she was traveling with me. She could also be an album called Christmas if she had celebrated Christmas with me. Does that make sense? But it's still one photo and one and only photo. Does that make sense? Is that, if that's clear and you got it, give me a yes. It's like, I wish in real life, if we had an album called Christmas and an album called Family and an album called Trips, we would have to make 3 copies of that photo. We would have to go and ask for 3 of them and put one in each, right? Not in the computer. In the computer, it's one set of photos, all here, all under library. That's it. Okay. And then if they belong in an album and you drag them to that album to put them in there, or you create an album with them, it's just like a it's like a pointer. It's like a little line from this photo that is the real one in the library, just kind of drag, like if you could see little lines, it's like that's also a video. And that's also a photo of a bridge. And that's also a photo of a trip in Spain. So it shows itself, like it points, this album points. So this album called Flamenco Singers, these are not duplicated, but this guy points to that actual photo wherever I have it in my library. And if I look at it to see where it could be, if I look at the info window, May 17th, 2025. Okay. So if I go to my library and I go to May 17th ish, let me see. May 26. Oh, I went too fast. May 15, May 17. Here it is. That's the same one. These are those 3 flamenco players. They exist here amongst all the other photos I've taken, but then you isolate them and say, I don't want to have to look through all my photos to find those guys. I want to make a little album called Flamenco Singers, and I will drag those in here, and then I can just see them isolated from the rest, like a little group. Does that make sense, you guys? And now I have my flamenco singers here, but they are not duplicated. In fact, and this is important, if I delete this photo from here, I delete it from everywhere. So see this guy who's holding a guitar? a big guitar. So here's the photo so we can all focus on it a little bit. Just a big guitar, so right in the center. If I go back to my library, there it is. It's this one. Got it? Amongst all my other photos. So now if I decide to delete this photo, which I will, from the big old library, right? I'm going to right click and delete it from the library. Whoops, turn this off. Delete will be deleted from your iCloud photos on all your devices. Good enough. Good thing it'll be in my recently deleted for 30 days. Okay, good. So I'm going to delete it. Boom. It's gone. So now I only have 2 flamenco singers. Guess what? I go to my sub-selection of flamenco singers. It's gone from here too, because it was the one photo. And if it happened to be in 3 different albums, well, it disappeared from everywhere, because when that one photo disappears, it disappeared from everywhere. Does that make sense? Now, fortunately, I'm going to go to recently deleted, view album, and I'm going to get in there and I'm going to say, no, recover. See, it's there. So I'm going to recover it and I'm going to get rid of it from the deleted. And the good news is that not only did it come back into my library, but it also went back into my flamenco singers. Cool? Yeah? Now, everyone, give me a yes if you understood that, if that made sense to you. The fact that when you delete a photo from the main library, it disappears not only from the main library, but from everywhere that you've categorized it. So if I were to delete that photo of my sister, she'd disappear. From the main library, you should disappear from family, Christmas, and trip, because she was there in all 3 of those. It's gone from all 3 because I deleted the main photo.
Am I understanding? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no. This is just deleting. We're not talking it from the main library. We're not talking yet deleting from albums. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
Now I'm just saying deleting from the main library, which is the real photo that counts, deletes it from everywhere else. So as long as that's clear, give me a yes. And then I'll go to see what happens if you delete from albums and stuff like that. So clarify. Okay,
So
so
can you clarify something so I can take the same picture and put it in 5 different albums?
yeah, 25.
Got it. Okay.
What
That's
if
what
I happen to be a guitar collector and I go, ooh, this is not only a flamenco singer, but oh, look at the kind of guitar he plays, and I put him under guitar. And then I'm a musician and I like guitarist, and I'm like, oh, he's a guitarist, so I have him under types of guitars. I have him under trip to Spain. I have him under collection of guitars, and I have him under singers that I know or something like that, right? Yeah, I mean, how many photos can that guy qualify for? Right? So he can be wherever. Now, conversely, if I go to flamenco singers, so first I'm explaining the whole album situation, then we're gonna start making our own, right? So I go to flamenco singers and I go, I don't know. He's a flamenco singer, but I don't like the photo. So I don't want to separate him, because remember, I might have 25 flamenco singers in here. And the whole point of the album isn't to put all my flamenco singers in there, but to put in the flamenco singers that I really like the photos of, right? So it doesn't, so, and more specifically, what if you're a photo guy, you take photos of flowers, flowers galore. You might take 200 photos of flowers this month, of which there are 5 that are stupendous photos. So you don't need to put all 200 photos of flowers in an album. You would put the 5 stupendous flowers. Does that make sense? Because they're the ones that you want to see again. Yeah, you might want to show, to print, to categorize, and for your album of types of, bird, or people who are bird watchers, right? They would want one of each of the really good ones in their album or stuff like that. So what if I go, yeah, this one's okay, but I don't necessarily want him in this album. I'm going to right click and I'm going to remove it from the album. If I delete the photo, I am deleting the photo. It'll go back to my recently deleted and it'll delete from everywhere. I don't want to delete the photo. I just want to remove it from the album. Does that make sense, you guys? That is a difference. Now, when you're in the library, you don't relieve from albums. This is the main one. So you don't have the choice remove from library. You only have delete the photo. But when you look at it in an album, you can now go, I don't want this photo here. I don't want it anywhere. I hate this photo. Blah. I can delete the photo. Or I'll go, no, 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 it just doesn't belong in this album. So I'm going to remove it from the album right now. Good, it's gone from the album. But when I go back to my photos, there it is. It hasn't been deleted. And then I
Okay.
look at it again and I go, oh, actually, I really want to, I think it's a good photo. So I'll just put it back. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm just going to drag it in. I'm going to just dump it in there again. Boom. So now there it is again. It's back. Okay. So when you remove from an album, because now it doesn't apply anymore. Maybe I have these beautiful buildings and I look at them again and go, I don't know, this isn't a photo of a beautiful building. I'll just right click and remove it. But I'm not getting rid of the photo because it's a great photo. It's just not a beautiful building, for example. Does that make sense? And then as I go through all my photos, I might discover another beautiful building that I hadn't seen. Ooh, that's a beautiful building. That's not in my beautiful buildings. So I'm going to drag and add it to beautiful buildings. Boom. So that one just got added. Let's go see beautiful buildings. And there it is. It just got added. See that? But it's still there. And if I'm like, oh, it's beautiful, but not so beautiful, let me just remove it again. I'm going to just remove that one and it's down here so you can see. So I'm just remove it again. Boom, it removed itself. And now when I go back to library, but it's still there. It just was or wasn't a beautiful building. Okay. So now we're going to practice all of this, but if the concept that I'm telling you about the difference between deleting a photo or putting it and taking it away from an album, removing from an album is clear, the concept is clear, now we're going to begin to practice it. So give me a yes if that makes sense to you. And when we begin to practice it, other questions will come up, I'm sure. And if you have any questions right now, please ask me. But since I haven't in class made albums with anyone yet, I'm going to first have us make an album and then we're going to practice with us that album how to add or take away from it. All right, so hopefully everyone went into the chat already and gave me a little hey ho that you were here. And meanwhile, if you give me a yes, that's good. If you give me a no or have any questions, please raise your hands. I know a couple of you guys, if you're on your phones, it's Josie is a bit harder to give me a yes. Okay, I'm going to clear your answers. All right, so let's start working on those albums. First of all, when I click on the word albums, just like before, if I'm not looking at them, they will appear here. Some of you, for example, I know Yolanda has hundreds of albums. They would all appear over here. Now, I have, I think, 13 or 14 albums here, but when I look at them in this mode, right, clicking on the word albums, I am seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, where are the rest of the albums? It's just that a few of these are folders, not just albums. And remember, a folder holds albums. So if I had all these albums individually out, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 albums. Then I have a folder with 2 more, so it would be 6 and 7. And I have a folder with 3 more, 8, 9, and 10, and another folder that has 1, 10, 11, 12, 13. Actually, I think I was 8, 9, and 10 over there. Over here, I have 5 albums. I'm going to show it to you. So this is, so I have 15 albums in total. And I'm only seeing that because this is showing me how many albums I have in this folder versus this is showing me how many photos I have in this album. I have 12 photos in there, 3 in there. You saw the flamenco singers. I had 3 photos in there. There it is. I have 32 beautiful buildings and I have 73 to be edited. But in this mode, I can't see how many photos I have in each one of these albums because what I have is a folder containing 4 albums, 1 album, 3 albums, or 2 albums. So this mode is cute, but it isn't that useful. So let's once again, over here on the side, let me open up the albums by clicking on this arrow. And now let's understand a bit more what I was saying here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 albums. There they are. 1, 2, 3, 4 albums. Then I have this thing, which is a smart album. We're going to talk about it called Not in Any Album. And here it is. Okay, there it is. We're going to talk about what a smart album is. So 4 albums, one smart album. And then I have 1, 2, 3 folders: nature, photos, family, and pottery. Okay, so I'm going to open family. And inside of family, I have great family photos, group photos, Santi and Joaquin. So that's 3 folders that are all about family. It's one folder, I'm sorry, it's all about family with 3 different albums inside instead of being mixed up with amongst the others. Now, why would I do that? Then over here, I have an album called Pottery, and I have tiny houses and raku vases. So here they are, an album with and a folder with 2 albums. Then I have one called Nature Photos, and when I open that one, ooh, this one has 4 albums: rocks, textures, skies, and close-ups, but it has another folder inside. Yes, you can put folders inside of folders. And when I open that one, I have mushrooms, flowers, and mushrooms from Cambria, right? So why would I do this? Why would I do this? Some of you guys have many albums, hundreds of albums that you've had because you've been making albums from the beginning of time. And how hard is it to find what you want when you have hundreds of something? Remember those of you who took my Mac level 1 class where we were organizing things. I said, if you can condense, right? If you have many different things that can be financial information, make one big folder called financial and then put taxes in there, investments, invoices, receipts, put it all in one thing called financial. Then inside of that, you can break it down. You don't want to throw all your receipts and your expenses and your taxes all in one big folder. You'll make a subfolder called, taxes 2024, 2023, 2021, different folders for each one. In one of those, you would have expenses for that year, receipts for that year. If you can think of that, then that's kind of what we're doing here. If I would have to open this and I'd have to scroll down, 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 down to see all my different albums, for finding my family albums, I would have the S over here for Santi, the J over there for Joaquin, the group photo somewhere else. Here, I can just go straight to family and go boom, straight to Santi. So it condenses my view. I can only scroll up and down. And as long as it's family, there it's going to be. And as long as it's a trip, there it's going to be. And as long as it's nature photos, there it's going to be. Instead of having them all individual like that. Does that make sense? So we're not going to do the organization first. We're going to do just albums. We're going to make albums, but just showing you that you can also become more efficient in your albums. Okay, last thing about albums, and really pay attention to this one. In the past, it was hard to find photos other than you organizing them. So we put everything in albums. So a lot of you guys have tons of albums from the past because that's how we used to have to organize things. If you wanted to find all the photos of a certain wedding before, you would have to make a photo album called Wedding. But what if you took 200 photos that wedding and you really only want to see 20 of them because they're the 20 good ones when you show the wedding to your friends? Oh, look, my daughter got married. Here's 20 good photos. You don't want to show 200 photos. It was what you would have to make another album called Good Wedding Photos, right? All right. So now we have a huge assistance, which is the search and keywords. We're going to talk about that next, are really useful. And later, I'm going to show you those. For now, we're going to begin to make albums, but just want to warn you, try to make albums of things that only you would know, that the computer can't know. So if I write the word buildings, right? The computer in the search will be able to find a ton of buildings. But what if I only think a few of them are beautiful? So I'm going to bring out and make an album of beautiful buildings. Does that make sense? If I'm a photography, like again, I'm a flower photo taker, and I have hundreds and thousands of flowers photos taken in my albums. If I go and search the word flowers, flowers will appear everywhere. Let me just show you. And again, this isn't a teaching about the it isn't the search example yet, but if I write the word flowers, then I can find flowers galore. Look at all the flowers that my computer found. But if I don't think all of these are beautiful, then under flowers, I get to choose these, this one, that one, and that one, and put only the 3 flowers that I find really beautiful. So I would recommend using the albums for things that only you know. Again, in that wedding, which were the 10 beautiful photos of that wedding, of that trip where you took 2,000 photos, not trip. In fact, trips, the computer knows trips here, but it takes every photo of that trip and puts it in an album. How about the ones I like to show of that trip? Then I would make my own album. Does that make sense? So let's, with that in mind, we're going to make our album. And many of you have made albums already. Just consider now something that you'd want to make an album of. And I have, for example, I have amongst all these photos of this trip, I was very impressed with these little floor mosaics. And by the way, this is just a sample, but in my real album, I took hundreds of these photos. So these are sidewalks in Portugal. They have the most amazing sidewalks that they just design with these little guys. And I couldn't help but walk around taking pictures of them. But I took so many, right? That when you look at my album, I have like, I'm not exaggerating, like 80 or 90 photos of just floors of sidewalks. So what I need to do is separate the ones I like the most. And trust me, this is a sample album, but in my real album, I mean, is where I have the zillions of photos of this trip. But here I just brought 4. So there's so many ways to make albums. The easiest one, when everything is near me, like right now, I see them all because they're all visible to me right now, is I will select them first and make an album later. So let's start by that. Select 3 things you want in an album. So at this point, how do I select 3 things? Because if I select that one and then I select that one, the first selection disappears, right? So I'm going to select that one, hold down my command key, then I'm going to select the next one. Keeping the command key down, I don't bother to take it up. I then select that one and then I select that one. So I have now selected 4 items. And if I look at my info window, it shows me in the map 4 items, but it even shows me that there's 2 different spots. This one over here in Aveiro, this one here in Lisbon. I guess I don't have any from Porto here. So it even shows you where the photos are from in case they are from different. So if you had birds around the country, you'd see them all over, or flowers everywhere. So now I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So everyone, please select 3 photos. And it doesn't matter if right now it's 3 any old photos. It's a sample album. You can call it sample album and not care if it's a good album. Okay, so I'm not about to make you make decisions that you can you regret. Just choose 3 random photos and called it random album, right? Because it's just for the practice. So I've got 4 photos. Now I could right click and nope, the right click isn't working. Okay, well, it is. There's a long about way, but it's easier to hit over here to where it says album. So I got my 4 selected, okay? Let's forget the right click because that's a longer roundabout way. I'll show it to you later. Head over to the word albums and see this little plus sign that appears when you touch the word albums. It wasn't there if you're not touching it, but if you're hovering over the word album, see that plus sign? I'm going to click on the plus sign and I'm going to say album. And my album got created with my 4 photos, untitled album, and I'm going to call this one Sidewalk Mosaics. And then I leave. Now, if the name didn't work well, I can just click on it again and call it now just Mosaics. Or if I got a typo, I just click on it one more time and I call it again Mosaic Sidewalks, right? Like you can keep editing the name. So in your case, if you made a real album, go for it. If you made one called Random Photos, now click on it again and called it Photo That's Random or Test Album. You know, keep changing it to practice changing the name of your album. Once you have made it, I'm going to undo this. I'm going to Command Z and start again to show it to you one more time. Select the first one, then hold down the Command key, then select the next set, and then go to the albums word +, album. And then we're going to give it a name. It's actually really cobblestone now that I think about it. Cobblestone mosaics, I'm going to call it, because they're little square cobblestones. So that will be its name. All right. Now, when you give a name that's a bit too long, it might or not work to occupy more of your computer space. But if your names are all very tiny and truncated, you want to see what they are. Put your mouse on the edge of this and make it a little bit bigger so that you can have a better idea of the names you gave them. But if your names are really long and you have to do that, then you're taking away space from that, right? So try to give it enough of a name that you know what you're doing, what they are, but not too long. All right, if you've all managed to make one album in the way I just showed you, which is pre-selecting them and going to the +, give me a yes, because there's so many ways to make albums. I'm showing you one of many ways, and you might have not made them this way before. You might have made them differently. Okay, so give me a yes if you just made an album by pre-selecting and then making your album from the +, and it worked. And please practice what I teach you. Okay, don't just watch, practice it so that you can give me a yes. If you already know that you've done it this way and it works, then give me a yes. But if you've never done it this way and you go, oh, I make them a different way, try it this way as well, because it doesn't hurt to try new ways. Yes, sorry, Mary Jean?
I was going to say thank you for explaining how I can delete a photo from an album, but not delete it on all my devices. That's very helpful.
Yes. What if I had thrown this one into that album, right? By mistake. When I go into there, I go, oh, I didn't mean to select that one. Yeah, that doesn't belong. It's not a mosaic. Okay, right click and just remove from the album. So there you go. It wasn't wrong. It's not a photo I want to get rid of. I just wasn't a mosaic, right? Maybe I put this one in there, which looks from afar like a mosaic, but it's really a tiled wall. So I'm going to go, whoops, you don't belong in there either. You belong somewhere else. Remove it from there. Okay. And when I said add it, I just meant, yeah, add it. You can drag anything and go, ooh, here's another cobblestone mosaic. Here's another cobblestone mosaic. That's because you made the first one with 4 doesn't mean that this doesn't belong. So you just drag it and drop it. Okay, so everyone just drag and drop a few more, even if they don't belong, because you saw how easy they can be removed. So now this is not cobblestone mosaic, but this is also other cobblestone patterns. So I'm going to select them anyway. Click, click, click. And here I have some cobblestone. Believe it or not, this is an amazing cobblestone floor pattern. And here's some cobblestone roads. So I'm like, you know what? I think instead of calling them mosaics, I'm going to call it cobblestone patterns or something. So I'm going to add these to that. I'm very much into patterns and stuff, as you can see. So there we go. So I added 4 at a time. Did you see how I just dragged 4 in there? Now then I go, well, this one is an interesting photo, but it wasn't about the cobblestones, which they aren't even cobblestones. It's about the sign. So it doesn't belong. So I'm going to remove that one. But the rest are working. And guys, I have to show you this. This is an old Roman. This is little tiny pebble stone. These are my feet. I need to crop that out. But these are little pebbles put sideways. This is the floor in a museum. It's amazing. Where they've recreated a bunch of the good stuff, but they had the floor was the patterns they had wasn't very amazing. But yeah, I just enjoyed these kind of patterns, and so or these roads that were beautiful. So there you go. I have them next to these. Now, if I were really specific, if I were a collector of cobblestone images, I might divide this, put a folder and call one of them, call them cobblestones, and one of them call them mosaics. You know, you begin to bring it down. Like if you're into collecting birds, you wouldn't just put one big photo called birds. You might start going by areas, geographical locations, or you might call them by types of birds, right? And you might have subsets. So it depends on how crazy you're going to get now. This is enough for me to call these cobblestones. I don't need to get much more specific than that. Okay, so has everyone added more things to their original album? And again, and if it was a junky album that you just said sample, then add any old four others. It helps me sometimes to practice to make something that makes it's meaningful for me to teach you how to see, oh, well, that's not meaningful to take it away, but just to practice, I don't care what albums you make. Let me clear your feedback. And if you were able to make albums and now add to them by dragging things into them and then dragging something that doesn't belong at all, there we go. And then going to that and go, that's not a cobblestone, right? Click remove. So if you were able to do that, then give me a yes. Now this isn't cobblestone floors, but this, I was interested in the walls, so that I might add it into that, but not really. But anyway, am I going to beautiful buildings? Okay, is that a yes from everyone? Kristen, Colette, oh, Colette, you gave me a yes, I believe, on your other one. No, you're on. Sarah, Josie, I'm not sure, Sarah, how much, since you're just joining us today, you're following. I'll keep going, but if you have questions, please interrupt me and let me know. Okay, great, thank you. Good, thanks for the thumbs up. All right, clearing your feedback. Okay, so all of this I'm showing you on the computer. I will show you also on the phone. But first, I want to show you a different way of making albums here, and then we're going to go to the phone. So I'm going to reshare my screen so that you see my entire window now, because there's a different way to make albums, the same thing. So I'm going to select exactly the same thing, right? So I'm going to select 3 photos. I don't care. Here, this is paths. So I'm going to select this one and this one and this one. These are different paths, different whatever flooring of a path, right?
We're
And
not seeing what you're selecting.
I'm not seeing it either.
oh, how about there?
We're seeing
Yes.
your pictures, but not what you're selecting.
Okay, so I'm gonna select that one. Since these are 5 that are in a row, I'm actually going to go click, shift, and click, and so they're all being selected together. But I'm selecting 5 different ones now. Okay. Now, the other way to do exactly the same thing with it there, if you prefer, you can go up to edit, so file, new folder. And sorry, not new folder, I apologize. New album with selection. A folder and an album are very different things. A new album with selection. 6 photos. See how they're already selected? I said 5, but I guess I got 6. So that is the same thing to do it from here. Exactly the same as what I did when I went to that plus sign. Some people like seeing the name of what they're doing better. It's a new album with the selection. 6 photos. And now we can call this one paths, right? And so these are, I'm going to select, and these are all different paths that I was walking on. Okay, so there we go. That's paths. Okay, so I'm not going to bother explaining all the ins and outs of this one. It's exactly the same thing, except when you do it from the plus sign and it just says album. It doesn't say select from photos, but this one actually very clearly tells you album from the selection. Okay. So that, since it's exactly the same thing, now what's the other way of making an album? The other way of making an album is pre-making the album with nothing in it, just because you know that you're going to, whenever you find one of those, you're going to put it in there. So for example, best photos of a certain trip, of a certain person, of a certain event, a wedding, so you're not going to be able to select them all at once, but you're going to pre-make the album. Again, you can either go file with nothing. So make sure, click somewhere in the middle in the white so that nothing is selected. Okay. Then you go up to file, and now see how it doesn't say new album from selection, 6 photos or whatever, because there are none selected. So now I can just make a new album straight from here, right? Or I can make a new album straight from the plus sign. It doesn't matter. As long as there's nothing selected, it means the same thing. It's going to make an empty album. So see, it's an untitled album with no items in it. And we're going to call this one best wedding, for example, or best party or best trip. In this case, I'm going to say best which was I don't remember what I was showing. I was showing photos of my summer trip. Best of summer 2025, for example. And there's no photo in it because it's empty. It doesn't have photos. So see how this has a tiny little path, a tiny little cobblestone, a tiny little, this one has nothing. There's nothing in it. So I've pre-made it. And again, I could have done it from here. New album, same thing. Best selfie from the trip. I'm just giving examples of you just make pre-made albums. Why? Because you don't have them all next to each other, or you want to be selecting as you go. You might have photos. And actually, it's a better example to say best something that I might have best cloud photos, for example, right? Maybe you have taken cloud photos all your life. So that's a perfect example. You have clouds sprinkled throughout your here, I'm going to not call it of the trip, but just in general, best selfies, for example, right? So then the computer, you can find all the cloud photos that you want in there, but it can't decide for you which ones you consider the best selfies, which one you think that it's the right angle, is the right moment. Those are things, this should be things that you can only decide, not that the computer can decide. So now I'm going to go to my library, and as I'm scrolling up and down, whenever I see a photo of a cloud that I really like, and I don't know how many cloud photos I brought on this trip, or in a selfie that I really like. So if I really like that selfie, I'm gonna put that one in there, and I'll go, okay, I love this selfie, whatever. Okay, that's a good selfie. I'll put it in there. Boom. Now finally I have a little image in there and one selfie in there, right? Photos, clouds. I have a lot of pottery. Come on. I have so many clouds, but there you go. Where are my clouds? All right. How about, since I don't know where my clouds are, I wait because as I scour all my photos at some point, the clouds will appear. Or B, I do the search. So now we're going to use the search to help me fill my album. Okay. So I'm going to say, okay, search clouds, right? And anything that has clouds is popping up. Now, where's the clouds in here? Yeah, it's a bit liberal. It's a very liberal example of what clouds means because I see clouds in many of these photos. But by doing that, at least I have isolated where I do have photos that are just clouds. Now, it's not just clouds. There's also ocean and whatever, but the photo is about the cloud. So I'm going to grab this one and put it in best photo. And now remember, look what's going to happen. When I want to put it in there, I'm going to make sure that my plus sign is on and that I'm hovering over the right thing, okay, before I let go. So I'm going to hover over here. And when I say the right thing, the tip of my mouse, not any part, has to be touching the area, okay? So it's the tip of my mouse. Whoops, I lost that search. Clouds. So here's that photo. I'm going to drop it right there where the tip of my mouse is touching. See how it goes blue? And boom, I let go. And there we go. Now, if I think this is a great best cloud photo too, I'm going to drag it in there. And then as I go along, when I find a photo that's got some really good clouds, I think that one is a really good one too. I'll put it in there. Now, I'm searching only photos that the computer decided were clouds because of the search. It could be that it didn't choose one that I've always liked. And so I'm going to be open. See, I'm going to choose these 3. These 5 were all about the clouds. So I'm going to drag all those over here. And now it's kind of weird because it's not really about the clouds, but it's a cloud layer that's under this is up in the top of the Pyrenees and the clouds were below me. So they're best cloud photos. Now this one here, this is cool. This is at Henry's Beach. And
That's pure clouds.
this is, what's that?
Well, it's just that's pure clouds.
That one is pure clouds.
Nothing but.
And it's actually a photo that I used to show how to edit to make it lighter, but that's just pure clouds, right? Anyway, so I've used the search to help me find, oh, here, this is here, sunset in the other, on the Riviera. Okay. So by the time I'm done, right, I have, let me see, when I go to my best cloud photos, I have separated them. That doesn't mean that as I go up and down my library without that search, I might not find some other cloud photo that the computer didn't think was important enough for me to put in there, right? But yeah, so that's a good way to then isolate the things that I thought all the clouds, and then I chose which were the best ones. Okay. Now the selfie, I could have gone over here to media types and just click on selfies. And then I go, ugh, all these selfies. Oh, but I really like this one here. Let me put that one in there. And where's my, um, oh, okay. Here, let me just take any of these. It doesn't matter. I'll put this one in here. But I'm looking for a photo that's not here. I'm like, oh, not here, not here. Remember I told you the other day there's a photo I really like of myself? That's the one with the angel wings behind me. And it's not here. Wonder why. These are all selfies and I can't find it. Why do you think?
Because the computer didn't select it.
Nope. A selfie in the media here, for media type, a selfie means that you're using the selfie camera. You've turned it around and touched on the camera to face forward, and it's actually taking a selfie. That is a media type. That photo of me with the angel wings was taken by someone I was traveling with. It's not a selfie. It is a portrait of me that I love, but it is not a selfie. Does that make sense? So if instead of selfies, I meant photos of myself, then that going to selfies doesn't work. I'm not going to appear over here. The computer isn't wrong. That just wasn't a selfie. So I would have to go back to my library, go to all the photos of the trip. I don't know where it might be. So let's give it a try. Will I find it with a description of the photo? Let's see. I'm going to put the word wings in here because who knows where that, well, I mean, I know where it is, but say that I don't know. Wings. Nope. It didn't figure it out with the word wings. Okay. What else? Let me put photos of me and you'll see in a minute that remember we did photos of a certain person. When I go down in photos of a certain person, it turns out, did it recognize me in that? There I am. So one way or another, I was able to find it with a search. So now I'm going to put this under best selfie. And instead of calling it best selfie, I'm going to say best photos of me, right? Best self portraits. They're not self portraits, best photos of me. Now, of course, most of the times I don't want best photos of myself. I'm looking actually for photos of my family and friends, but why not? Now I have 4 photos that I consider best photos of me, which by the way are random. This one I do believe is one of the great, I like it. The rest are just photos that I just found here to show this, but the computer wouldn't have known amongst all the other stuff how to figure out the ones that I think are the best photos. And that's what I recommend leaving your albums for. Okay, so we made 2 empty albums and then we began to populate it. And the whole point is that some albums are done and one and done, a wedding event. I went to the wedding, I separated the 20 best photos, and I put the 20 best photos. That's it. It's not a continuous album. Like I won't keep finding best photos of it because that's it. That happened one day. But best cloud photos can keep happening, as I go back to my photos of many years before, or as I keep taking photos. Tomorrow I might take an amazing photo. I can add it to that. So these I can constantly be adding to. And I take another good photo of myself that I like, I can add to it later. I go and see some more cobblestones, I can add to it later. Does that make sense? So they're not one and done. They are photos that I will be reviewing versus if you've viewed all your trip photos and you've already selected the 20 that you like best, you're done with that album, right? Anyway, so if everyone's been able to make empty albums and populate them with something that worked for you, then please give me a yes. So that was the opposite of before. We started with nothing selected, okay? Just a library with nothing selected, and created an empty album, right? And decided what it was going to be, the color yellow. I don't know. I don't know why this was color yellow album. I'm just inventing that. And then whenever I see the color yellow, well, this guy is pretty yellowish. I'm going to throw it in there. That boat has some yellow. Let's put it in there. This one has some yellow, which, by the way, that was so weird. It was one place that we were in where their specialty of the house of the town was this treat that I don't remember its name. And it was based on eggs, and I thought, and it's sweet, it's a candy. And we said, okay, so my sister and I, we bought one and we shared it, and it's literally like eating egg with a lot of sugar. It was so weird. And it was okay, but
Was it an actual egg?
no, they make it.
Just a candy.
It was a sweet, a treat, yeah. Like,
Yeah,
but I don't know if they also really had like coloring in there or what.
sure.
Look at that thing. But it basically it tasted as if you put sugar on your egg yolk and put it in a little pastry. And it was like, okay, not bad, but I wouldn't repeat. Yeah. But anyway, the color is definitely very yellow. So now when I go to color yellow, I have 4 photos that have color yellow, whatever. I'm just inventing at this point. Okay. All right. What about making a folder? Now, I don't know how many of you guys have the kind of photos that you can be making into folders, but I would, if you have never made albums before, then you're starting out. But if you have made albums before and you have, 40, 50 albums, 20, 30 albums, I'm sure you can discover 5 of them that are of trips, for example. And you can collect them all into a folder called trips, or 5 of them that are, or 3 of them that are of something that you're passionate about. Or in this case, for example, I have a ton of photos of pottery. My husband's a potter, and so I already made here 2, but I have a ton more photos of pottery, so I can put more. So I'm gonna take these out, by the way. I'm gonna drop them out right now. So I've just taken them out of I've just dropped them into albums. So let me just do that again. I don't want this pottery album to exist anymore, right? So I'm going to take this one and take it out. I'm just dropping it somewhere in the middle like that. Boom. Take this one out and I'm dropping it in the middle. So I can delete this pottery album, because if I delete that pottery album, sorry, the folder, delete the folder. Good. So the pottery folder is gone. Okay. So now my raku vases are mixed up with my beautiful buildings and my tiny houses, and between my making movies and my flamenco singers. And on top of that, when I go into my library, I discover that I have a ton more pottery photos in here that are, look at that, tons more photos that are not part of any album. So I want to make them into an album. So say that I want, is that all I have right now? Okay. So if those are the ones that I have, but I also have, say that I'm also a painter and I have paintings, or say that I'm also a sculptor, or, different stuff. You might want to put all of those under a folder called art. And then in one folder, in an art called art, you would have your paintings, your photos, your quilt making. I mean, I don't know, whatever you're doing. You might want to call it my crafts, or the maker album, and you start throwing in there all the stuff, right? So in my case, I'm going to do that for the pottery, because I have 3 different types of pottery in there. So I'm going to head over here to albums. And again, I can either click over here and make a folder, or I can click over up there and say new folder. It's exactly the same. Now I'm going to reshare so that I show only the photos, so that you can not have to see everything else that's on my screen. So it's a bit easier to see, or make it a bit smaller so you guys can see less. All right. So I'm going to make an album from here. Sorry, a folder from here. And this folder is going to called pottery. Pottery. So a folder won't hold photos. It will hold albums. Does that make sense, you guys? It's a holder of albums so that I have less stuff hanging around. So make folders of things that you think you can collect your albums inside of. Like I have family or nature photos. Now I've made one called pottery. So can you all throw out an idea? Just put it in the chat, maybe to give other people ideas. What kind of folders would you make out of photos that you have? If you have many albums of something, right? And so put it in the chat. So I'm gonna call this one called Holidays is one album. Why? Because I have in my real life, I have albums of Thanksgiving in 2021 and Thanksgiving 2022, Thanksgiving 2023. So I'll put them all under and Christmas 2021, Christmas 22, Christmas 23. I can grab all of those and put them in one album called Holidays. Does that make sense? So Clouds is more like an album than a folder. So once again, a folder is going to hold many albums. So Josie wrote Europe travel. So say that your folder is Europe travel, and inside of Europe travel, you have an album of France, an album of Germany, an album of Spain. Does that make sense? So that's great, right? Or a folder of albums. And inside of the albums, you might have a album. Inside of the folder called animals, you will have an album called cat, an album called dogs, an album called, maybe you have rabbits, maybe you have lizards. I'm not exaggerating. We had not lizards, but snakes, hamsters, rabbits, chickens, turtles, cat, and dog. That's what my house has a few years ago. We've reduced a little bit right now, but we have all those in my house, right? Uh, not just animals running around. Those are, squirrels and raccoons, and just our little pets. Okay, so only three of you gave ideas. Everyone give some ideas of a folder you can think of, even if you're making it or not making it. But I want you guys to be more participatory right now. You're just listening to me. I want to make sure that you're getting the message. So give me an idea of folders. Okay, here comes Molly. Oh, Molly, I haven't seen in a while either.
This is great. Thank you. This is organizing so many photos for me. Thank you so
Molly,
much.
Molly, haven't seen you in a while. How are you? I don't know that Molly can hear me because you're not looking like you're hearing me saying hi, but hi, Molly. Okay, rental properties, says Blast. Perfect example. If you have many properties that are rentals, and I've had this exact example before, someone at home in class, where then you have an album for, property on State Street, property on De La Vina Street, property on Cabrillo Street, all under one folder called properties. Got it? Or you might have one rental only, but you might have inside of that, you might have photos of the kitchen, photos of the flooring. Maybe you want to check that the flooring is good when they leave and when they come back. Photos of the bathroom, photos of the living room. And when people go, hey, I want to rent your house, show me photos of it. Or the balcony, you have photos of the balcony. So, you can divide it however way you want. Artworks. Okay, great. Art classes. Yeah, you might take many different art classes. So a folder called art classes and one folder for your abstract painting, one for your pastel painting, one for your watercolor painting, one for your oil painting, right? Perfect. All right, cool. Collect called said project. Yeah, you might have different projects. Like one is I don't know, a website you're building, and one is a book you're making. One is a calendar you're making, one is a card you're making. So you have different projects, folders of divided photos. Okay, great. Good examples. Thank you. So here I made my folder called pottery, and that's all, but there's nothing in this folder, right? So now I'm going to grab, since I already have an album called Raku Vases, I'm going to just drag it into that folder. There you go. And then I have one called Tiny House, which is their pottery. I'm going to go ahead and drop it in there. Cool. I already had them. For the most part, we make folders with albums we already have because we're trying to condense what we have. But what if I now go, you know what? I just want to add some more. because I have some more pottery in here. So I'm going to go and I'm going to go look for more. So say that I make, let me see. I think I used out a lot of pottery, but I did take it out. So those are the houses, those are vases. Do I have? No, these are all Reku. I here, pottery making. So if
Yeah.
I have photos or videos I took, so I'm going to select from the top, shift, click shift. These are all photos of my husband, videos actually, of my husband making pottery. Good. So now I can go make a new album, make a new album, boom, with 29 videos and call making pottery, right? So I made a new album, loose, and now I grab it and put it under pottery. So there we go. So now when I open pottery, I have Reku vases, tiny houses, and making pottery. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, and so on and so forth. So paths and cobblestones, they could all be part of my trip. Beautiful buildings, that could be part of my trip, but sometimes not. Maybe beautiful buildings is something that I want from every trip I've ever taken, or these are beautiful buildings within the trip that I took this summer, right? So if that's how I feel about it, then I'm gonna make a folder for mm, Europe trip, for example.
2025.
But if I were to write Europe the way it belongs,
And
yeah, Europe trip 2025.
Yeah.
And then within that, I have some paths and I have some cobblestone and mosaics, and I have some beautiful buildings. The flamenco singers were from that trip as well, right? So I don't have to have one big album with all the things from that trip. And I could have a choice of, my 30 favorite photos that I'm going to show to people when they go, "How was your trip?" I got 30 photos, bit of everything. But then when I want to separate my buildings, my flamencos, my whatever, I'll do that. Does that make sense? So there we go. Europe trip 2025. I'm beginning to make it easier to look at all my photos by making these folders of similar things versus have them all like mixed up, making movies mixed up with beautiful buildings, mixed up with cloud photos. Now, that doesn't mean that if I look at this photo here, beautiful buildings, I go, "Oh my God, look at the beautiful clouds that that photo had." I'm inventing here. I can grab that and I could still put this under best cloud photos. So it's a beautiful building. It belongs in a beautiful building, but it's also a best cloud photo. So when I go over here and take and look at it, and I'm kind of pushing the limit here of what best cloud photo means, it's also there. It's also part of my European trip. Maybe I'm someone who takes photos of graveyards because that's a graveyard, and I can also have it under photos of graveyards. I don't know. I'm pushing it here, right? But yeah. Okay. So everyone, please make yourself some albums and then make yourself some folders. And once you don't have questions about how to do those, we will continue with um, smart albums. So yes, Blas.
Yes, so you have to make an album first and then you put it in the folder. You can't go to the folder and make a spot for a new album.
Yeah, so say I have Europe trip, okay? The folder already exists. And in the Europe trip, I have paths, cobblestone buildings, and flamencos. But if I hover over Europe trip, there's a little plus sign.
Oh,
I can click on plus sign and I'm at another album, but this time it's going to go directly into Europe trip. So I make an album. It's already in the Europe trip, and I'm going to call this one, I don't know, landscapes, for example, in my European trip. So then I go to my library and I start looking for great landscapes of that trip. And here we go. So here are some beautiful landscapes of that trip, whatever that one, and this one, and this one. I don't know. I'll take those and I'm just going to throw them in there. Boom. So the exit that was so there we go. Those are landscapes. These are paths. These are cobbles. So I made it after the folder existed. Does that make sense? Was that how you asked?
Yes, that answered my question. Thank you.
So there's a little plus sign. There is no plus sign next to photos. If I click an album, there's no plus sign next to an album. You add photos to it. That's all you do. But when you have a folder, you have an album and you go, oh, I want a new album in my pottery folder, or I want a new album in my nature photos. So I'm going to click here into nature photos, which if I already have rocks, textures, skies, close-ups, plants folder within a folder, right? Yeah, because I can click on this and make also a folder in here. So maybe I'm gonna make a new album in the plants. Okay, so I'm gonna go over here and make a new album inside of plants. And it's got to be a plant. So let me write um, trees. I don't know how many photos I have, but there we go. So I made a album called trees. So now, whenever I go in my library and whenever I find a really good tree that I want to memorialize, I don't think I have many nature photos in this album. Oh, this is a cool one. I'm seeing the
Oh, yeah.
Sagrada Familia through a gorgeous tree. And so I'm going to put this one under trees. Doesn't really a photo about of the tree, but never mind. Here it is. So I open the trees and I grab this and boom, I put it inside of trees.
Can you show us again how you did that folder within a folder?
Yeah, I clicked, oh, photo within a folder. Yeah, you can choose inside of a folder, right? This is a folder already that holds landscapes, paths, cobblestone buildings, flamenco singers. But I could also make a folder instead of an album, a folder within
Oh,
the,
I see. Okay, thank you.
and then you make choices, so that's how this plants appeared underneath nature photos, right? So I had said, I had a plants folder and I had a nature photos, and I went, that's silly. I should have them together. Now, this might be different. Maybe I'm photographing plants because they're in my backyard and I'm trying to decide how to landscape my garden. Okay, then they're not really a nature photo. Nature photo might be photos that are actually photos that I use that I like to have as beautiful pictures that are not, they're just great. But oh, here I had a skies one and I made a clouds one up there. Anyway, but see, in the skies one before, remember today in my clouds one, I put this one in there. Well, now it turns out in our nature photos, I have a skies and the same clouds photo is in both. Okay, so now under best cloud photos, that one was, so maybe I'll grab this one. I go, oh, that one belongs to best skies too. So I'm going to grab and drag it and put it under skies as well, because, I think it also belongs in there. So yeah, photos can be, as I said, photos can be in myriads of albums as long as they fulfill the requisite, right?
So
So
you were just moving photos from one album to another album,
not moving,
or
adding,
adding. But
adding. So I went to the best cloud photos and I said, oh, this one probably could go in skies as well. So
yeah,
this one, maybe this one is a good one for skies. So I'm going to drag it into skies. As much as I could have dragged it into skies from the main library, it doesn't matter. I'm not moving it. See how it didn't leave?
okay,
Still in best cloud photos.
yeah,
But if I go and look for it in skies, there it is in skies now as well.
I got it.
So it's important. I didn't move it. I just added it because, yeah, one is a subset of another.
So if you put something into the wrong folder, which I find, or into the wrong album, and you open that album and you go, oh my God, that doesn't belong there. It belongs over there.
So
You
you
can
can't
drag
move
it over.
Yeah, you can't move it. So I can't move this into the right one. I can't put this one into the best. So I'll put this one into color yellow, right? So I go to color yellow and I go, oh, there's no yellow in there.
Okay.
I can't move it to clouds. I can add it to clouds, but I can't move it to clouds. What I need to do is, yeah, put it in the right place. So you add it to skies, for example. But now from here, you got to remove it.
Okay.
Doesn't belong in yellow. So I can't just grab it and move it because then it would disappear from here.
But you can
Add it.
drag it, which adds it.
Yeah, I can drag it to the
And you
right
can
place. So
remove
if,
it.
if by mistake you dropped it in landscape instead of paths, right? So say
Yeah.
that you put let me put a building in paths. So when I go to paths, I'm like, whoa, that landed in the wrong place, right?
Yeah.
So now I move it to the place it belongs to, but I don't move it. Sorry, I drag it to the right place so that it does go to the right place. And by the way, this one's already in beautiful buildings, and look what happens when I try to add it and
Wanna
I
let
try to
you.
put it in beautiful buildings, it's gonna go, I don't think so. It just goes back. If it goes out, it's because you've already put it in there. And now I go, okay, well then, but you're not a path. So now let me remove you. The album is all I've removed it from. It's still under beautiful buildings. There it is. And most of all, it's still in my library mixed up with all the rest of the photos, wherever they might be that photo was taken. And I think that's towards the end of the trip. Anyway, wherever that was, I would have to look at the date. So how do we find it? If I really want to find it, I look at it and I look at the date or the file name, but it's May 6, 2025. Or I can look for the image 3230, either way. So say that I want to find it May 6, 2025. I go to my library, right? And who knows, back and forth, I can just look at this. I can hit upon me. When I'm saying this, I mean this date. I could be looking at that till if I'm May 6th. Or what if I'm way out there? I'm like in some other, I'm in 2022. I'm so far, I would have to really scroll down. So I click in here under the search and I wrote May. Did I say 6 or 26? Oh, May 26. So now any photo taken on May 26 appeared. And guess what? Turns out that I took these photos on May 26th, but I also took that photo May 26, 2018, and this one May 26, 2013. It and this one 2012 looks like May 26th. I take a lot of different photos. That's interesting. Right? So this one was the one I was looking for. But as long as it's May 26th, over the years, I have taken photos over the years on May 26th.
Yeah.
Had I written May 26, 2025, it would have given me the only one. But that's all. I mean, how many photos could you have of the same day? So that kind of worked for me to find the one that I meant. And then I get to go put it back into where it belonged in beautiful buildings. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If you're taking a trip and that day you happen to take a lot of photos, then you will have many that day, or if it's an event. But other than that, every May 26th photo, look at a great day that I found. I have some few photos in this album that it's coincidental that that really worked out to show you that I have 2012. And I'm looking at the date over here, 2012, 2013, 2018, 2025. And these are all 2025. Okay. So everyone, if you know of a date, then you do that. Oh, and by the way, once I did that search, May 26th, was it? Now I can just really go back. Here's just those results, right? Now, if I want to go find this and all the other photos in the library that are like it, I can just double click when I back out. So select it, right? See that one photo. But if I want to see all the photos of that moment, that day, I just go to this arrow and back out and it drops me. Huh, it didn't. It should have dropped me. That used to drop me in the date. It didn't. It left me in 2021 still. Let me see that again. May 26th. You should have been able to, from here, back out into all the photos of that day. That's interesting. Oh, okay. So show in all photos. I right clicked and I said show in all photos. And there it is. That's the photo. And then these are all the other photos of that day. Okay, so let me show you that again. Make a search for a particular thing, a flower, something very generic. I'm going to write beach. So these are all photos of beaches. And say that I like this one, but I have no idea when it was taken, or that one, or that one. And I'm like, I want to see all the photos of that day, right? So then right click and show in all photos. And here's that photo along with all the other photos of that day. Turns out that was when I was in Cambria. Does that make sense, you guys? So if I go to flowers and I look for photos of flowers, I go, okay, where, oh, that was a great flower photo. But if I look over here, it tells me when I took it, where I took it, and it's like, oh, this is from Compostela. Okay, let me see what other photos I took that day. Right click, showing all photos, and oh, that's the day that I was doing these. Oh, that's that walk. That's that part of the whatever. Okay, so I like that helps me now find all the rest of the photos from that day. All right, so the search is very powerful. So in a way, we're leaving the concept of albums, and because looking for stuff is a good way to make your albums, right? So how powerful is this search? It's very powerful. Notice that in some things it's right, in some things it's not. Now, if you have not put people and pets, if you've not put someone's name in here, say that I'm interested in seeing photos of, whatever, Marcus, but I have not named Marcus in here. When I go write Marcus, no one there, even though there is a Marcus in my photos, but the computer has no way of knowing who Marcus is. Does that make sense? So the only way it worked for me to write Diana is because my computer already knew who Diana was, and so it found photos of Diana. Does that make sense? So you
Yes.
can. So if I put in Sam, I think I have one photo of Sam. Yeah, there's Sam. Why? Because at some point in the people and pets, I named Sam. Here he is. So the computer knows that this person is Sam. Does that make sense? You have to have them named for the computer to know. But then why didn't I just bother and go over here for Sam's photo? Yeah, there we go. I could have done that. Or if I have too many names and it's hard to find where's Sam's photo, just go here and write Sam, write Isabella, and all the photos of Isabella come up. But they only work because I put it under people and pets. Does that make sense? So the search avoids me having to find between amongst my 200 people. Just writing her name pops up, and it turns out that she was in 3 of the photos. All right. Everyone go to the search and look for people that you know you have there, for example, or pets, or flowers, or, skies or water. It's interesting because when I write water, I get choices, right? Water, generic water, 320. Waterfront, 40. Waterfront with location markers, 35. Waterfall, or then it says, how about watercolors, right? So it gives me an idea of watercolors. When I go water, though, you will see pictures of snow. In the past, it has brought pictures of snow. After all, snow is a type of water. And yep, as much as I have real water photos, I also have this one in snow. So it's pretty generous with its interpretation. And this is waterfront. So when I went to water, had I written water and chosen one of its choices of just waterfront, then all the photos now are of beaches or lakesides, okay? Versus just water, which is what I had before. Now, if some of these photos are within a certain album, like they're in 2 memories, then it points those to those memories, and the rest are loose. When I wrote with flowers, it asked me flower pots, flower, these are searches, or flowers, your album flowers. See, that's my album flowers, and it shows up my album flowers. Okay. Then it has a top result, something that's for sure flowers, and then it has a few other results of flowers that I might like. And in fact, it has this in there, and I'm like, what up with this one? I don't see the flowers on that one. And I hit the space bar, and oh, look at that. It picked up on all of these little flowers that were there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So some are very obvious flowers and some are less obvious. It's a mosaic of flowers
Oh,
because it was generic. But these, it's like pretty sure this is a portrait. Well, but big front and center is not a portrait, a person. Big front and center is a bunch of flowers. And now this one is an illustration of flowers. This is an assignment in my Illustrator class that people make flowers, and it's still there because they are flowers, right? They're recognizable as flowers. So, okay. So, questions? Yes, Josie?
Yes, I have a question about when you use the name and you put the name in. I
Mhm.
noticed that when you brought your picture up, the one with the feathers or the wings, that is, your name is there. And then on other ones that you've shown, like the wedding in France, you had different names there. So if you want to view or print that photo, obviously you don't want the name there. So how does it disappear?
No, they don't. They don't print. That's just for organizational methods. The name doesn't appear. By the
Okay.
way, a second here, I found another cobblestone picture. See, this is what I mean about suddenly you're looking at your photos and you go, ooh, this could be in cobblestones. And I know I have that, so I go ahead and I drag them in there, right? That's what I mean by ongoing. I just happened to land in here because I came back through that flower and I saw, oh, this could be in cobblestones, for example. Okay. But look, what she's talking about here are photos that are generic. I don't know these people, so they are unnamed, right? And so my little thing is showing that it's not that there's no faces, it's just that they're unnamed, so it doesn't show me faces, right? Little well-known faces. It just says unnamed. If I, but on a photo that I do know, and she talked about that wedding in France that we, um, here, these are the photos of that wedding in France. I see three faces here, right? And when I hit that space bar, I see three faces because there are three that it recognizes, right? And it goes, okay, so are these people? But they're all unnamed. When I go print this, and I'm going to show you printing in a minute, all of these labels disappear. And if you don't want to see these labels right now, you could just turn them off from where we had turned them on before in window. Let me share my entire screen to remind you at the beginning. I had you guys go to view and show all these metadata, but right under that was hide face names. If I say hide face names, if I just really want to enjoy the photo, I don't want to be seeing those
Right.
things that says made, so you would have to hide them. But if I'm showing them because I'm in the midst of organizing whatever, then it's easier to have them here because then I could just click on this and call this one Sylvia, right? And I saw it was Silva, and it goes, oh, is this one the one that you've already named? Because I've already named this person. I'm like, yeah, good. But how about this one? I've never named Eugenia in my group of people. She's not there. So when I write Eugenia, no other name appears, you see, versus Sylvia. So now, if I do that, I am creating a new people. So trust me, I don't have her in my people. When I now finish doing that as a name, if I go back to people, I will have an Eugenia now there. See, she just appeared because I put her in the photo. Does that make sense? I didn't have her. She didn't exist as a name. Okay. On the other hand, I do have her as a pre-named person. So when I start writing her name Vicky, I get the choice. Vicky Rios, yeah, that one. And so that isn't a previously named person. So then that gets added. But the rest that I don't have, I think I had called this one Iron. In fact, so I remember when I was doing Iron Man, yeah, that's Iron Man. And this one I don't have her. So if I say Priscilla, that's her name, I am creating. So I'm just created that name. And if I go to people and pets, yet at the bottom, there we go. I just created Priscilla. Okay. I just,
So was it in view where you removed the name just to view it as it is without the names? Was it in view?
yeah. And view. And by the way, I don't hide face names or show face names. But if I were to print this photo and I'm going to Command P, I haven't yet. But if I were to print this photo, I haven't shown you, it won't print with those faces, even if I'm seeing them. So don't worry about that. But if you
Thank you.
want to view them without this, because
Mhm.
it's intrusive, then yeah, show or hide face names.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Someone just joined us. Oh, hi, Bob. I was checking in. Okay. So guys, a lot of you guys, how are we doing with time? I'm kind of lost in I think we're doing fine with break, or I don't have my alarm things next to me. Just making sure that I don't over.
It's about 2:45, roughly.
Yeah, so we're not yet we're within the range of soon come. So let's do one more album things, and then we'll move on something else when we come back, which is the smart album. So now I'm going to collapse these folders so that I have less stuff in there, although all the albums are there. And by the way, I've created, remember we began the class by me clicking on albums, and I had much fewer albums, but now I've made best cloud photos, color yellow, best photos of myself. I just added those, but then I added 5 albums inside of Europe trip. Okay. And I think I put trees inside of nature or something like that, right? So this is how it keeps growing. Okay. Now this is a smart album. A smart album is an album that you don't fill. It fills itself with things that match your request. So in this case, I created a smart album to show me photos that are not in any album, right? And so all of my 1,500 something photos, 1,291 are not in any album, right? So that's what it's showing me. Now, for example, here, this one could fit into the cobblestones picture. So let me watch this. I have 1,291 photos that are not in any album, but I'm going to put this one in album. So this is going to change to 1,290. Watch, I'm going to put this one under cobblestones, and now there's 1,290 in here. So that photo disappeared from this album because it doesn't fulfill that condition anymore. Does that make sense? That photo is now in an album. So since it is now in an album, it is not fulfilling the condition of not being in any album. I'm going to put this one under best photos of myself. I see a photo of myself. That was 1,290. I'm going to drag this one into an album, and I'm down to 1,289. And it disappears from here, not because I took it out, but because it just doesn't fulfill the condition to not being in any album anymore. Got it? So that's an example of an album that it filled itself when I created it with any photos that were not on an album. So now let's create other examples of smart albums. Let's go over here. I can make it over here, or I could go to the very top as usual and new smart album from there. So it doesn't matter where I make it from. Let's make a smart album. So everyone give me a yes when you have this window in front of you. That's make a smart album, name untitled smart album. I want everyone to do this assignment. So give me a yes when you have a new smart album. Okay. Perfect. All right. Molly, Georgia, Colette, Ellen, Josie. Oh, I haven't shown people, I forget. I haven't shown people how to do all this on the phone. Okay, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to show to the phone. Josie, you should remind me about this. Say, how do we do that on the phone? But one more thing is that the only one of these, and this is another reason I remembered, is this is the only thing that cannot be done. You cannot see smart albums made on your phone. You cannot see them. Sorry. Smart albums made on your computer cannot be seen on your phone. This is the first thing that we're going to do here. There's one more thing we're going to do here that we can't do on the phone. So here we will not see this one on the phone. So this is in a way establishing a search that's continuous, right? So let's call this one test smart album, right? Test smart album. And so what condition does the photo need to match? By default, it says photo is favorite, but I already have a folder called favorite, so why would I do that? So if I leave it in photo is edited, I've already edited it. like I've created an editing would be if I cropped it or lightened or darkened or did something like that. So that's a good one to know. Photos that I've already worked on. Sure, let's give that one as an example. Photo is edited. And it turns out I have edited 156 items. Could be that you've never edited a photo, so you have 0. That's okay. Once we edit one, it will have 1. Does that make sense? But I have 156. So I'm going to say okay to that. And then here I'm going to say test, and I'm going to call this one now edited smart album. So now I know that that's what this one is. And I'm going to say okay. So here it is, and it's showing me all photos that in one way or another I have edited. Okay. Now, what I mean by editing, in case you don't know, and editing a photo is when you have double clicked and edit and done something to the light or to the darkness or to whatever, right? So we're going to be doing that. I'm gonna undo that. But in this one was in my edited album. Look at it. I'm about to revert to original, so I'm going to not have it be edited anymore. I'm going to get rid of all the editing I've ever done on it. So when I say revert to original, this is the original photo. When I say done, it should have disappeared from here, but I guess since it's been edited, oh, because I had changed the the how do you call it? I had changed the portrait version of it. Revert to original. For some reason, it's telling me it's still in the edited album. Maybe it remembers that I edited it. Even if I revert, it's not considered. Now I could clear all the edits, but yeah, looks like it still assumes it's edited even though I clicked on revert to original. Okay, well, there you go. Now, let's test edit. It says November, 139 photos, 17 videos, 139. Just remember that number, 139 photos. I'm going to go find a photo that I have not edited yet. Any photo that I haven't edited yet. Here, I'm going to double click. This one has not been edited. I'm going to hit edit and I'm going to do something to it. I don't know why. I'm just going to change the color. I'm going to make it darker. There we go. Really dark. I'm going to say done. So now it's been edited. So now I go to test edited and I now have 140 photos and it arrived. I didn't put it in here. It's just that now it has been edited. So now I've added from 139 to 140. This one has also been edited. Does that make sense, you guys? The smart album fills itself with photos that fulfill its condition. So in this case, it found my edited photo. Now I am curious if I clear that back to revert, is it still considered edited? No. Now it's gone from the edited and I'm back to 139. Yeah, that other one must have had some other weird stuff done to it, which is why it stayed there. But this one I just took away that dark and I reverted it back and it's gone. It's not there anymore. So we're gonna make an album that might make, might be helpful. I'm going to put it down. I'm going to drag it. By the way, can you move albums around? Yes, you can. You can drag things around all you want, but be careful not to drop it in a folder. Make sure to have that blue line there, so it's its own thing. So now these are my 2 albums. How about my pottery? Do I want to put my pottery down here? I could have my folders together, and my loose albums together. I mean, I don't know. I'm just showing you that you can put things, but don't put them into each other. So don't like put pottery inside of Europe if it's not part of that, right? Now, if I were to put pottery inside of Europe by mistake and I open Europe, I see pottery in there, I can just take it out again and put it outside of the album. So everything is movable, but just so that you see, whoops, where did I put that pottery? I might have dropped it into, yeah, nature photos. It's best to just drop it into albums again. Okay, so now I have all my 4 albums and my 2 smart albums. gonna do one more smart album and then we're gonna take questions and then we're gonna go on a break. So one more smart album. I can say that my person is a certain thing, or we're gonna talk about keywords in a minute, and that'll be really powerful. You get to put keywords onto things. I could have made a caption, I could have put in a file name, I could have put in a date. So say that I say that I want photos of Christmas. So I'm going to put date captured is, and I go to December 25th. Now, December 25th hasn't happened yet, so 0 items match. You see that? So that's correct because that hasn't happened. Now, I highly doubt that I have any photo if I were to go to 2024 either. 0 items match, nor 2023. Why? Because I don't have in this album, in this sample album, I don't have photos of Christmas, but also that's pretty reductive because when we go to Christmas to my family, sometimes we celebrate on the 23rd, sometimes on the 24th. So how about instead of is that day, how about I found is in the range of December, say 20th to December 29. That's about when we tend to meet with our family for Christmas. If this were my real album, I would have photos in there. Now I'm going to move that to be 2024. And again, I doubt. Look at that. Suddenly 446 items match because I haven't changed this yet. And this is basically from December 2024 to December 2025. So in that years, I have 446 photos. But now when I go and say 2024 again, I have 0 matches. So I don't have photos of Christmas in this album, but I do have lots of summer photos. So let me go ahead instead and stay July 20th, 2024 to August 29, and there 2 items have matched, right? So I'm going to say this is summer 2024. So I'm going to say from June 2024 to say September. 9 items are matching now. So now when I say okay, here it is. These are all photos that are matching with that date, whatever. It's not very impressive because these are not really, but it happens to be photos from that date. Okay. Now, what if instead I wanted, okay, that's my alarm. I know, I know. What if I say, well, not so good. Can I change that? Yeah. If that didn't give me a result that I want, okay, I guess I didn't take many summer 2024 pictures. I'm going to right click and edit, edit the conditions in that album. Okay. So now I'm going to say, okay, I want photos from May 20th to September 29, but this time 2025. And I do know that I have because those are the photos from this summer trip. Whoa, 2025. And I have 170 matches. So I changed it. So now I'm going to call it summer 2025. And I'm going to say, okay. And all these photos fall in there. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So you can keep editing that. It can be the caption or the file name or the picture or the photo or whatever, right? So there's so many, but since I said date captured in the range, then that's what happens. So if you have, maybe it's someone's wedding, but it's a location wedding and you went there for a week, right? So you say wedding, location wedding, whatever, wedding in Hawaii or daughter's wedding or whatever, and then you put a range, not just one date. You say, okay, then all the photos from the beginning to the end of that date will appear in here. And that would be wedding in Hawaii, right? You were there for 5 days, all the photos of every single photo is in there. That doesn't mean that you wouldn't from there then separate the best ones. All right. So you can have it be the person. The person includes Aaron, and this is where we're going to have groups. So it's a photo with groups of people is this one, right? So the person includes Aaron, and the person includes Selena. And I know I have photos of Aaron. I know I have photos of Selena, but it says 0 items matched. This is the last very important thing, so pay attention to this one. Like, wait, I know I have photos of Aaron. I know I have photos of Selena, probably one of each, but why doesn't it say 2 items? And it's because when you put more than one thing, I'm going to put plus. And I also I want also to include photos of Chris, right? Aaron, Selena, and Chris. I should expect at least 3 photos, even if I have 1 photo of each. Or if I have many, then I would have 23 photos. But the problem is that I have them all match this condition, and I do not have a single photo. This is my nephew, this is a daughter, friend of a daughter, and this is a friend of my kid. They don't know each other. So if for any reason I want photos of these people, I have to say any of the following conditions, not all. So now I will find photos of these 3 people. Looks like of one of these, I have 2 photos, but they don't need to be in the same photo. Does that see what I mean? If I say matches all 3 people have to be in a photo, and it's not going to happen. Versus any. Now this works if I'm trying to find photos of me and my mom together, right? So I would say all, put my mom and my me, and then I would have maybe 10 photos. But if I say any, maybe I'll have 50 photos of just my mom or just me. Does that make sense? So in this case, I'm getting photos of these 3 people separately. And I say, okay, so there we go. There's Aaron, there's Chris, there's Selena. Okay? Now, this is a bit of a useless group because they are never together, but say that that's what I needed to do. Okay? Yes, Sarah? By the way, give me a yes if you've tried to make a smart album and it worked. It found what you were looking for.
Yep, I did it.
Yes, Sarah? Did you have a question?
I was having a question, but I figured it out.
Okay, great. Marta, do you have a question?
I do. So how did you set up the conditions for the one that you have that is not in
Any album.
an
Okay.
album? Uh-huh.
Edit Smart Album. This one was a little bit tricky, so you can just copy this one. I said the album is not any. So you can set that one up, and it turns out 1,342 of my photos are not in any album. So that's a good one to have, actually. So there you go. Everyone, you can imitate this one. And then after that, we're going to go on a break. So create a new one and called photos on any album, and then album is not any. You start playing around and you discover how to do it. And this is that one.
Diana, how does it know it's your mother? And or like for example, how does it know it's your mother, your sister, your brother?
Yeah, because, and let me make sure, did everyone copy this one?
So it's
Do it or write it down so I can
it should be album is not any,
Yeah. Album is
not
not any.
not photo is not any, but
I know,
album.
it's weird because the way these rules work. I tried many different ones and I found out that this worked. So it doesn't make too much sense, which is why I'm saying copy it
All right.
because it took some playing around. Someone asked me in a class one day, how do I know if they're not on any album? And we tried a few and there wasn't the choice of photo is not album doesn't exist, right? So then I went with album is not any, and it worked. So, okay, there we go. just play around with the choices until you find something matching what you do. Okay, so now I'm going to leave that one and answer Mary Jean. Because when I went to people, were you here the day that we defined people? Okay, so we spent a bunch of time on this one. I don't remember when was that, the second or third day? And we labeled people. So I labeled my mom.
Okay. Nope,
Well,
that's fine.
but I labeled, you only have to label two or three, and then it goes in and it finds the rest. It's not
Got
like
it. Got it. Thanks.
photo. Otherwise, this would be crazy and not helpful, right? But now when I labeled these two people, right? If I go and double click on Priscilla, it turns out that that's all that's the only photo I have. And so that's all I have. But when I labeled my friend Selmira, turns out that I had two photos of her. And when I labeled my pet, turns out that I have, a ton of photos of him.
Great explanation. That explains it explains something. That's all I can say. Thank you.
On my kids, okay, and I have tons, okay. So you just label a few and then it keeps going and it finds them. But yeah, you'd have to watch the recording for that one because that's too long of a quick answer.
No, that answered enough. Thanks.
And you guys remember how to go to the recordings? So let me just show you for a second. If you were to go to the class handouts, just in case you want to see when did you talk about people and pets, right? So you go to the class handouts, iLife, Zoom class recording links. And it's like, okay, there's three classes. Today is the fourth. So which of these classes is it that I talked about pets? Well, remember you have these summaries, right? You don't want to sit through 4 hours of class, 3 hours of class to find just that. Although if you missed a class, you should take it. But you can open this link, open the summary and go, I know. It keeps reminding me I need to give you guys a break. So then you go photo management, edit for app navigation, iCloud, photos app, photo organization with face recognition. Show you how to use people and pets feature. Okay, so then you go, okay, it's that class. And then you go and you open that and watch that recording. Does that make sense? Not only that, but you go, okay, so that sounds like it's about halfway through the description. No, more towards the end. So it's probably after the break, right? So then you just zoom up to about after the break. But if you missed that day, I did so much teaching, watch the whole thing. But that's a little bit of an example of how to use these summaries to have an idea of what I taught in each of these days so that you can make a decision about which part to review if you missed, okay? Today, at the end of today, by tonight, I'll have the link of the recording and the summary of today's class and so on and so forth. And we have two more meetings still. All right. So I'm going to stop my share and we're going to take our break, our well-deserved break. It is now 3:04. So let's be back at, see, 15 minutes would be, so say it were 3:05, 3:20. So let's be back at 3:20 p.m. Okay. I'll see you guys in 15. Hello, hello. All right. So I'm going to clear your feedback and give me either turn on your videos if that's what you normally do, or give me a yes to tell me that you're here and that I've got people in attendance. That way I know. And yeah. All right. I'm seeing quite a few of you guys are back. Let me put the phone down. It's kind of funny because during the break, I was in the kitchen and my son, who like all kids, grew up, well, we didn't get them smartphones and stuff like that until they were quite older, but then they started getting our hand-me-downs. But like any kid, they've gotten really absorbed into the whole phone thing. And it turns out that my eldest has decided to rebel against it. And so now he bought himself a regular old-fashioned watch. He put his phone in black and white so he's not tempted. He deleted all social media, whatever. And it turns out I was organizing some stuff and out came one of my little instant cameras, the little digital cameras that we all had before iPhones. Other than our big old DSLRs and stuff I've always had for when we hang out with the kids, I like to be able to take pictures here and there. And he found them and he would charge them. And he's like, "Oh my God, this is so cool, Mom. You can take pictures with this thing." Because by the way, he has big old cameras with DSLRs with lenses. He's a filmmaker, so he has either the phone or the big cameras, but that in between of a good enough he hadn't even seen. And so he's playing around with it right now as if it's this new cool thing that he's going to use instead of his phone for photos. So there you go. Um, it all goes back. All right. So, um, let me share. Any questions before I share my screen? Anything anyone wants to know about albums before we continue on our journey? All right. So now I have other ways that I'm going to show you how to find photos and organize photos, but the main question I have is a lot of people get overwhelmed by having so many photos and not being able to use them or to find them. So, by the way, pick up your phones because we're going to be working with our phones in a minute. But do you have any questions about finding and organizing your photos? I've shown you really quickly, the search and the albums feature. There's one more left, which is keywords, and all the things that the computer does automatically to help you find stuff. Is there something you would like to know?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
And that is, I know that I have photographs in my iPhone
Mhm.
that I want to put into albums, but it doesn't show up on the computer. And though we do have that, we're supposedly all synced all together, the Apple Watch, the computer, and my iPhone.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering what the problem could be.
So you have phones in your phone and your computer that aren't, you see some in one place and some in not in the other place?
Yeah, right.
So again, and you just joined us today, but the first day, all we did, the whole day, that's what we talked about. I showed you in a minute, right before break, I showed you how to get to the class handouts. But again, since it's been a while since you've been in my classes, you might not remember how to do that. If you send me an email, I can send you that link, or since I have it open here, let me do it right now. This isn't something I normally do, but since hold on. Here is Hello. November
Well, for those
5th.
of you watching the recording, I have just opened the meeting, but since this is our first meeting,
That's me and record. Okay, so November 5th, first class. And I just put a link to that video in
Mm-hmm.
chat. Now I'm going to copy November 10th, second class. And now I'm going to put November 12th, third class. Now, this is there in the class handouts. If you click on the first link, that YouTube is the first class where all we did was talk about your, cloud. It's about the settings. I drove anyone back and forth through their settings in their phones. In your case, we didn't talk about smartwatches. We didn't have anyone, but smartwatch is linked to how it functions on your phone. So if your phone and your computer are seeing the same photos, your watch will see the same photos. And iPads as well. So watch that recording. And if there's something you
Great.
still don't understand, then on Wednesday when we meet again, please ask me, okay? Because I can't go back and teach the whole rethink. This is for
No, 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 not
anyone.
at all.
If there's things that I say, well, we spent some time on that, and someone else asked me and I sent them to the second class. What was it? Oh, Faces and Pets, I think one of you guys asked me. So that's the second video. Um, so go ahead and rewatch these. And then once you've watched them and you've tried it and it's not working, it's not happening. Oh, why is my videos not on? If it's still not working, still not happening for one reason or another, then when you ask me, I can show you and help you based on you already knowing it just
Got it.
isn't working. Does that make sense, you guys?
Absolutely.
All right. So, as I showed you, those same links that I just put in the chat, if you open them now, they will then take you to the video and just keep it open in a tab, because otherwise when the class is over, this chat disappears and you won't see it. But if you go to the class handouts, otherwise you will have those links right there. These are the links that I just put in the chat. Okay. And I'm just saying that so that right now, for some people, getting to those might be harder. But if you click on those links in the chat right now and leave them as open as separate tabs, you can enjoy the view. Enjoy the view. Enjoy and view them. And then ask me on Wednesday. Okay, we still have 2 more classes, Wednesday and Monday. All right, so thanks for asking. And anything else, you guys? By the way, if you've been here, you've been in class, you've watched the videos, and you still don't understand, I am 100% happy to re-explain. That's not the issue. But I can't teach the whole thing from scratch. That's all I'm saying. So if you have questions and you've tried it and it's still not working, definitely ask me. Okay? All right. Now, the question about finding photos. People tend to think that that's the hard, how do I find my photos? Where do I find them? If that's an issue, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to continue explaining things. All right. So the last thing that has to do with organization is going to be keywords. So we're going to work with talk about keywords. Next Wednesday, we're going to talk all about editing all these photos, all that stuff that I said that you can edit, make darker, make lighter, prepare things. That's next Wednesday. We might even get to it today, depending on how long we take on keywords. And then on next Monday, the last class, I'll catch up with anything people want to know, and I'm going to do videos, okay? How to work with videos, how to edit them, how to do clips, how to work with videos. But to prepare you for the videos class, if you want to do simple video editing, we do it here in the Photos app. And if we get to slightly more complicated video editing, where you put many together, well, I'm going to show you here how to make a video out of it in the Photos app. But if you want to put videos together and make a little movie out of it, then you need to have the iMovie app on your phone, on your computer. And the iMovie, not iMove, iMovie iMovie is free for Mac users, but it doesn't come installed. Uh, um, okay, so I wrote in the chat, I put iMovie, check if you have it. Um, oh, if you have it on your computer, and if you don't, then go download it for free from the Apple Store. Okay, so since this class is next Monday, we have a whole week between today and next week to make sure you have iMovie. So I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna share my entire window for a minute. So this is just 2 seconds, and then after that, we're gonna move on. If you open your Finder window and you go to Applications, right? And if you don't remember how to do this, this is what I teach in my Mac classes. I'll show you a different way. You can go to the Spotlight. But here under Applications, if you scroll down to the I for iMovie, there it is, iMovie app. You might have it in there and not even know that you had it, or you might not have it. And if you don't have the iMovie app and you want to edit videos beyond what the Photos app can do, I will be showing you that in next Monday in class, then you need to download it. So to download it, you can go to the App Store. And how do you find the App Store? Well, you can actually go over here to look for the App Store, or you can go to the Apple App Store, right? And when you go to the App Store, you just go in the search, you write iMovie. And if you don't know how to do this, you're going to have to watch this recording again. And there it is, iMovie. Now, not many others. It has to be called iMovie. And it has to be this, like the Hollywood star. And mine is old, so it says update. I'm going to update it now. But if yours says get, then that means you don't have it on your computer. So then if it says get, just get it. It's free. It's going to ask you when you buy something first, like if I say get right now on this one, install, and I don't have this one, then the first thing it's going to do, it's going to ask me, oh, come now. It's going to ask me, do you want, it's going to warn me that there's app stores. This is the account, and it's going to ask me for a credit card or whatever, even if it's free. Now, I don't have this computer set up with a card because it's a school computer, but even if it's free, it costs $0. You still have to go through that process, and then it'll download it for free. Okay. But this one is an app in an iPhone. It's an app that's already part of your computer, and it'll allow it. Now make sure you're looking at Mac apps for your Mac, not for your iPhone. These are iPhone apps, which iMovie is also part of the iPhone. You can also download it into your phone. But right now, I want to make sure you have it in your computer. Okay, so that's, if you find that you don't have the iMovie in your computer, then you go and download it from the App Store. Okay, now I'm going to leave the rest of that for you guys to work on for next class. And just so you know, not for next class, not for Wednesday, for next Monday. But for those of you who don't care about working at that level on your videos, please do come on Monday too, because I'm open. It's going to be a review for a bunch of stuff, not just video. A lot of people go, I don't care about video, and they don't come on the last class, but it's a great opportunity for many other questions and things. And you'll discover you all do have videos that you've taken in the past, and that you might discover that you want to do something with that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give me a second. I'm going to share my phone now to show you how to do all this albums and stuff on the phone. Here comes my phone. Okay. We're going to talk about keywords and stuff like that, but first I want to show you how to do albums on your phone. Okay. So everyone open your photos up on your phone. And when you first open them, you're in this all library mode, right? Or if you left it last down in these albums and people and pets, you might be there. Or if you have a slightly newer phone, you might have a choice down here that says libraries or collections, right? When mine says years and months, you might see libraries or collection. Libraries is the individual photos. This is a library. You saw that already in the computer. The all photos libraries is this one. But when you go to collections, which in the new phones, it says collections. Now all you do is you scroll down. Then here you get into recent days and albums, peoples and pets, pinned collections, memories, all the stuff we've been seeing on the sidebar of the computer. This is where it's all at. So scroll up and down until you find your albums. And it turns out there's the albums I've just made today. Remember the color yellow that I threw 4 random yellow things? Best photos of myself, best iCloud photos, best cloud photos. This is it. These are those albums that I've been showing you. If you don't see them all, if you have a ton of them, you click on this word, this little arrow there, and then all it does is just show you all your albums. And so if you have 50, 70 albums, this is seeing all your albums. Okay. I'm going to back this out a little bit again. What if I want to look at my best cloud photos albums? I click on best cloud photos albums, and then it features one, and then it shows you like a little video of the rest of them, right? It just kind of runs through them, a slideshow of them, let's say, because they're moving a bit because it's how they show them to you, but they're photos. And then if I want to see them individually, I just click on this one, and then I just move right to left to see all of the photos in my album. Okay. So now I'm going to back out of this album, and I'm going to back out of this one again. And I'm going to go into another one. What if I go into a folder of Europe trip? I go to my Europe trip, and then I see landscapes, paths, cobblestones, beautiful buildings, flamenco singers. We see that. Since we did that with the flamenco singers on the computer, let's do it here. I'm going to click on flamenco singers. And there it is. It's going to run through. It's only 3 this time, so it'll run through these 3 again and again and again. It's going to go back to the first one. And what if I'm going to stop on this photo again and go, this is the one that I kind of wanted or didn't want. So I'm going to click on it. There it is. And so I'm repeating what we did at the beginning. I'm grabbing a photo that exists already in an album, and I'm going, what if I don't like this photo? Or what if I like this photo? I like the photo. I don't want to delete it from the computer, from the phone, but I want to remove it from this album. Can I do that here? Yes, I can. So there's 3 little dots up at the top. So everyone choose a photo from one of your, hopefully you've made a fake album. Maybe I should have you make a fake album first. But I'm gonna, and by the way, Blas had asked me about those strip lines that appear over there. I'm gonna show you that in a minute. But for now, I just want to show you about the album. And go to the 3 little dots, click. And it says, copy the photo, duplicate the photo, hide it, show it in photos, play, add to album. It's already in an album, or we went through those, adjust location time. We've done many of those before, or remove from album, right? So here's where I can say I want to remove it. Not getting rid of the photo. I'm just removing it from the album. Boom. Are you sure? It'll be removed from this album, but will remain in your photo library. Yeah. Just remove from an album. Boom. So now I'm left with my album with only 2 photos, this one and this one, just like we had on the computer, remember? This is my album. Now I'm like, well, I actually would like to add that guy to the album again. How do I do that? So I'm going to back out, and I'm going to go find those flamenco singers in my library. So this could be the flamenco singers or anything, right? We're going to basically go and add a photo to an album. So go to your library and choose a photo, any photo, and we're going to add it to an existing album. We're not making a new one yet. First, we're adding to existing albums. So here's my library, and here's the photo of my flamenco singer, the one that I just removed from the album. And now it's like, oh no, I actually want him in the album. Are you following? Is everyone doing this? Is it working? We've removed a photo from the album. Now we're going to go, this really does work. It should be in the album. So I'm going to go to that same little 3 dots up at the top. If your phone looks very different from mine, let me know. You might have a different version. So now I'm going to say add to album. See how it doesn't say remove from album anymore because it's not in an album. So I'm going to add to album. Which album? It shows me all my albums, and I'm going to go, well, it's inside of my trip to Europe. So I'm going to have to go into that folder. And here's my flamenco singers and into that album. Good. It's been added. I just had to go find it. And if you don't believe it's been added, let's go back out to my albums, all the way down. Let's go back to my Europe trip. Oh, there we go. And here's my flamenco singers. And it's back to having 3 of them. Okay, so this is how you add photos. Now, if you wanted to add more than one, that's different. But anyway, give me a yes if you've all been able to remove a photo from a album on your phone and add a photo. And Josie, in particular, I hope you're there, but I'm doing all of this
Yes.
on now, which I know you're only working on your phone, but for those of you who are working on your computer and your phone, please do this on your phone now.
I'm having a bit of a problem to locate the picture that I removed because it's from many years ago. So
All right.
I'm
There-
looking in my library.
Is there any way you can find it with the search? So remember that the search is really powerful.
Yeah,
So
it was in my fall album, so I don't know how that helps. But again, it's from many years ago.
okay,
Uh,
if it was in your fall album, you can go down to your fall album, right? So go to wherever your fall album is and open it. And instead of having thousands of photos, you might have only hundreds of photos in there, right? So
Well, I
can
have fewer than that. It was just almost like an experimental thing.
Good. So say that in under making movies, I know that I had put it in there. I go in there and I say, oh, here's that photo that's supposed to go somewhere else. So I'm going to select it. Maybe this can go under landscapes. So it's in a album, but it can go in another one. So I will go to the 3 dots here and find it that way. So and put it in the album. And so if you have it in the fall album, that's easier than searching your entire library. Go to your fall album and
But
find.
then it won't be there because
Yeah,
I,
you removed it. Oh, you said you had it in another album.
oh no, it
Oh,
was,
you removed it from the fall album.
I
Okay.
removed it from the fall album,
And you,
correct?
okay. So then you're going to have to search it from
Correct.
scratch in the library. And is there any defining feature that you know
Oh,
that you could do a search? So guys, this is the search. That there is the search of your library, right? So click on this thing and see if there's anything here you could search that would help. Did it have water? Did it have a sky? Did it have a person? Did it have leaves? You said you called it fall. Maybe it's, like, is there something you can do in there to see if you can isolate it from 20,000 photos and bring it down to just a few hundred? Just saying.
well,
What
I,
photo?
I- I'm doing keywords now to try and find, oh, I did find it.
Okay, most people here
Geometric. I put geometric in there. Great.
have good.
So
So
now I do
find
the dots again.
3 little dots and add to album and choose what album to find it. So guys, see what I just said about the search? If there's any
Okay.
defining feature that you remember in that photo that you can describe, maybe the photo had a horse in it. I don't know. So you click in here and you search your library and you go horse. And it turns out, oh, look, I have 2 pictures with horses in there. And so I'll select one of them. And I go, oh, no, that's not the one I was looking. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to select the other one. It's like, oh, yeah, this is the one. I want to add this one to landscapes. Okay. So you go over here to the 3 dots and you say add to album. Oh, and the last album I added to always appears. Sometimes it helps because you're looking just for all your flamenco singers or just for all your paintings. And so the last one you used appears automatically. But nope, this isn't a flamenco singer. So I'm going to add to album. And I know that over here in the Europe trip, I had a folder called landscapes. And now I've added this one to the landscapes in my Europe trip. Okay.
It worked. Thank you so much.
Welcome. All right. Okay. Anyone else have a question before I move on to explaining other stuff? Were you all able? Okay, I'm going to clear your answers. Give me a yes if you were able to remove a photo from an album. And now select a photo and add it to an album on your phone. Okay. All right. So Georgia, Molly, anyone else? Anything else you want to test out? Okay, I'm going to teach you how to make a new album now. So now we're on our phone and we're going to say that I just, all I have is my phone on my computer and I want to make a new album. So let's go to some place, and I happen to land on this place that happens to have a lot of amazing tiles and mosaics and stuff. Yeah, so I'm going to use that. So I'm going to say, I want to make a new album, guys, an album that does not exist. Okay, so I'm starting on something new. We made new albums on the computer. How to make them on the phone? So I'm going to first start by selecting something that needs to go in an album. Now, that's not in an album right now. I mean, it could be, but I want to make a new album. And so I'm going to make some details of mosaics and stuff like that. So I'm going to go and say select. So when I'm in select mode, I can select as many as I want. So I'm going to start clicking on these different ones that have some close-ups of mosaics here. And that's stained glass, so it's not the same as tiles. I mean, not mosaics, tiles. I'm going to go with close-ups of tiles. And there. And these are all close-ups of tiles. And I have some more there. That's about it. I have them there. I'm sure I have more, but anyway, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have 11 photos in here. Okay, so I'll let people do a selection. And again, select 3 random photos and call it test album, whatever, because I'm just trying to make sure that we all have, so it's okay if you don't have the exact photos, the exact album, just select a few photos. And now you don't have those 3 dots anymore. So what do? Well, if there's no 3 dots over there, if you cancel, you'll lose your selection. So if you don't have them up there, look at the bottom. And again, in different versions, it might look a little bit different, but there's the 3 dots. Okay. So I'm going to look for these 3 dots over here. There's another version, which is to send on this link right there, but let's start with the 3 dots since that we recognize. Now, I'm going to add to an album. And like, yeah, but I don't have an album for that yet. Don't worry. Let's say add to album, and we're going to create a new album in there. So I'm going to add to an album, but I don't have an album with tiles yet. It's okay. Click on add to album. And if none of these works, then I'm going to go on plus sign. But now I want to put it in the Europe trip. So first I'm going to go into the Europe trip. You guys don't need to go one extra way, but since I want to put it in the right place already, not to have to move it, I'm going to the Europe trip. And in this Europe trip, now I'm going to go to that plus sign. And I'm going to create a new album. And this one's going to be called Tiles. And I'm going to cancel this again. You have to go and say the 3 little dots, okay? Select them, 3 little dots. Be careful not to trash, although you will get the warning. They're going to be trash, so you would see that. 3 little dots, add to album that I don't have yet. In this case, add them into the folder and then create the plus sign. All right, and now I'm going to call this one Tiles. Amazing Tiles or whatever. And then I'm going to hit the create. And there it is. It takes you back to the library and you're like, okay, well, that was what happened. Well, let's head down to our albums. And in my case, I have to go into the Europe trip to see if it's been created. And there it is. I have a new album named Tiles. And I click on Tiles. There's all the amazing tile photos that I put into that album. And again, that little video is being shown automatically. But if I want to go straight to a photo, I click on it and flip them to look through them myself. Okay. So this, I walk out and I walk out and I walk out, all these little arrows let me back out until I'm back in my photos. So now I have created a new album on my phone, selecting multiple photos, creating it, putting it in the right place. And now I know how to add photos and remove photos from the album from my phone. Any questions? Give me a yes if you were able to create an album on your phone. Now, for those of you who have iPads, it's exactly the same, right? iPad, iPhone, doesn't matter. On our watches, we don't create or take away. We just see on our watch what's on our from our phone. Okay.
So then here, create, add to album. Don't have the album yet. Floral plants.
All right. Any questions? I'm only seeing 4 yeses. So Mary Jean, Molly, Sarah, Bob. I know that a few of you guys pop in a little bit to listen in and can't do the whole thing, but if so, let me know. I think Bob.
Diana, this is beyond what I want. I will never do this on the phone. I'm very happy with what I learned on the computer.
Okay, got it. And yeah, that's true, by the way. You don't have to do it both ways. A lot of people never use their computer for their photos, and thus the only way to organize is on their phone, right? But
Yeah.
other people are like, yeah, God, it's so much easier on the computer. When I sit to really do organization, I just do it on my computer. But the other day, I was sitting there waiting. I had some time in between some things I had to do, and I had all these paintings that I'd been working with and making, and I wanted to make a folder for them, and I was sitting there, so I figured, let's do it on the phone. So you never know, but yeah, I get it. Originally, I would definitely do it. If I have a choice, I would definitely do it on my computer, but it can all be done on the phone. That's the point I'm making. In fact, let me scroll down. Here's the people and pets. Here's the memories, where again, I didn't make these, they were made for me, but I can choose them, I can favorite them. And then the trips are the ones that the computer puts together, remember? And then the featured photos is what the computer chooses. So we went through all of that on the computer, and now we're seeing them on the phone. And then here are all my media types. Okay. So media types, if I click on that, I see them all. Again, here it's just showing me video, selfies, live portrait. If I keep going panorama, time lapse, slow-mo, I keep going animated raw. So if I don't want to see them that way, just click on the word media types. Boom, you see them all at once, right? And then that lets you go to the ones that you wanted. For example, portrait type photos. There we go. These are all now portrait. Remember, taken with the camera in the portrait setting, because these leaves are not a portrait, but it's in the portrait setting. Okay, that's what matters. Okay. Um, Again, not a portrait, but taken in the portrait setting. So I can, what was the advantage of portrait setting? I can alter the focus from the roses to the house, from the house to the roses, right? That's the whole point of portrait setting. All right, backing out. So that is the media types.
Deanna,
Yeah.
I'm stuck and I wanted to complete what I was doing
Mhm.
for add to an album. Can you assist me now? Yes?
Yeah, go for it. I was just showing that what you can see is everything, and you're seeing it basically. Utilities. Here's all the utilities, duplicates, recently saved, everything that we've been doing on the computer. This is how you find it on the phone. The only thing I haven't explained yet is shared albums, which I'm going to. But yeah, go ahead and ask me your question.
Okay, I did the select, I did the add to album, and that was creating an album. And when I went back to see where the albums are, or where my 3 photos are, um, it didn't show up as a as an album, but I got to where I did it again. So I have add to album, and I see my
Hey,
3
Josie, let me stop you for a second. Oh, she's gone. Mary Jean. No, she just wrote goodbye for now. Thank you, because I think because I was explaining only the phone, and she said she doesn't want to do it on the phone, but I'm going to go back to the computer. Anyway, never mind. She's gone. I just noticed she wrote that and then she left, which is fine. Maybe it was time for her to leave. But I don't want people to think I'm going to be on the phone and then never again. I just go back and forth. But anyway, yes.
So I do see my 3 photos, and I had created the name Floral Plants,
Yes.
and I thought I had, when you see add to album, do you add another plus, or how do you know that it's now added?
Okay. If you created it, you did the plus, you gave it the name, you selected the photos, you gave it the name.
Yeah, the name is here, Floral Plants, and I have 3 that I selected.
Okay.
So I'm on the screen that says add to album. On the left, it says cancel, and on the right, there's a plus sign.
Yeah. So then let me just reshare my screen to make sure that you're on this. Let me just make sure I understand exactly where you are. But if so, I think you're done. But let me just share my phone and here it is. Okay. So what you're saying is, and let me just grab these 2 peacocks. I'm going to select peacocks and I'm going to create an album.
I did that.
And I'm going to say add to
Add
album.
to album, yes.
Then,
That's where I am.
okay, so if you're here, you don't have your photos here yet. You need to create the album.
I do have the photos there,
Okay.
and it says
So then
cancel and
you're not
plus.
here yet. So then you're not here yet. You said you're here, but this is just seeing the albums. I have not made yet my new album called Peacocks, or in your case, your floral album. So I'm going to click the plus sign. And now I'm going to create this one called Peacocks.
So I did that the first time around.
Okay, did you hit the word create?
Yes, because I see it here, add to album, and then
Wait. If you hit,
I did create.
okay, so then you create. I'm just trying to follow through. And then you're gone. So if you created it, you shouldn't be there, but
See, because I did it twice.
back. Okay. So when you go bound to albums, do you see the album you created?
I
I didn't say cancel
I'm
or
gonna put cancel then, and then look and see.
go to the albums to see if the one you created got created. The last one you create should be at the very top of the album choices. The other one stayed in there because I put
Albums,
it in natures, but albums.
albums. No, see, it's not here. There's Holy Land. Well, I won't read them, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So let's go through the steps again. Go back to the photos and tell me exactly. I'll do the step that you're doing, and then you'll see if you see the same thing of me. So let's go back to your photos. I'm going to do one with these 3 signs. So
Should I do other pictures? But I see it when it said, okay, I see them here, so I select. I'll do the same ones or do different ones.
let's do the same ones. Say select, then select those 3 photos.
Okay, I did.
Because you went to albums, you say it wasn't there. So let's do it again. Okay, 3 albums. Okay, now go to the 3 dots,
Correct. And then add to album.
album.
And then I
Now,
see them there.
how do you see them there? I don't see, that's the part that's weird. I don't see them there.
I see my 3 photos there. And it says add that exact screen that you have with cancel, add to album, and
Yeah,
plus.
except for my signs are not here. This is just showing me my albums, but it's not showing me the 3 signs that I selected. So if you see them there, maybe you do have that album.
I think I must because this is now my 3rd time doing the same pictures.
If you see them, then
And
go,
I remember create. I put create.
then say cancel and go find 3 other photos because you shouldn't be seeing them here until you create the album. So go find 3 random photos and let's create again. And when you get to this point where it says add to album, you should not be seeing it unless you want to add to an existing album, which is fine, but it
Okay.
isn't what we were practicing. If I want to add
Now,
this to peacocks, that's good. But if
okay, I don't see them here, the new ones that I clicked on, that I selected. So I'm going to do a plus. Is that right?
yeah, and so now this one is going to be
And then
signed.
it says create. So I create. And that should, oh, I missed the title.
Ah, yeah,
On this one, the other one, I had the title.
okay.
Well, anyway, I'm gonna just look and see if,
It might show up as an untitled album. Okay,
yes, and it's there. And so is the other one of the floral plants.
okay, good. Then it worked.
Okay, well, thank you. I have the steps at least written down too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now I am going to one last thing, which is a little bit harder on the phone, but this signs also belongs in the Europe trip folder. It's a little bit harder because here's my signs, there's my folder, but I wanted to put that in there. So on purpose, I left it loose and I went, on my phone, can I put it in the folder? This is an album. I'm going to click and hold it down. Okay. And I'm going to drag it over and I'm going to drop it into the Europe folder. So I'm going to go in there. Does it say signs? No, let me try it one more time. Does it let me drag it and drop it in there? No, it's still at 6. So on the phone, it doesn't let me add it to a folder. Let me see if I click and hold. Add photos to the edit title and photos. No, from the computer, I could drag it into the folder. Here, I'm not seeing the way to drag it into a folder. So I'm going to have to put that album in there, in that folder in my computer. Okay. I can make folders in here, but I can't. I can, here, let me let someone in. Here we go, Jinsu. Okay. Yeah, got it, Bob. Thank you. Thanks for coming when you can. Now, that's it. Any other questions about your photos on your phone? I think that we've done everything that we've done up until now on the computer. We've been able to do in the photos. I'm searching to make sure there's nothing that we haven't
I can't get,
shared photos. So shared albums, I'm gonna talk in a minute about it, but yes, first we're gonna,
I have a question.
yes,
I
George,
can't get, um, I can't add photos to a particular album. Um, I found I could add those photos to a different album, but not to the one I wanted to put it in.
that's interesting. Okay,
I
so
tried several times.
all right, that's weird. Now there's a different way of adding photos to albums that I'm going to share right now in case the first time it didn't work, which I don't see why, but since there's a plan B, let me show you a plan B.
All right,
So say that I want to put, let me look for something that's existing. Okay, so here's a landscape. I want to add this photo to landscapes. Okay, so I'm going to select this photo and maybe this one. I'm going to set these two photos and add them to a landscape. Okay, actually, just so you guys know which ones they are, so later you'll see it's this photo and this photo. Okay, I'm going to add these two to the folder called landscape. So I'm going to say select, and then I'm going to click on that one, and I'm going to click on that one. So
right,
I have to. So before I had shown you to go to the three dots. That's
right.
one way. So everyone watch and learn or try or attempt the second way. So select a photo that you might want to add to something, even if it's a flower and you're adding it to portraits, you can always remove it later. So select two photos. It's the same thing we did before. And now instead of heading over to these three dots, we're going to go over to this icon, which who remembers what this icon stands for? The square with the, okay,
Or to send to
it's
or
share,
share.
right? Send to someone.
Share.
Let's
Okay.
go ahead and try and see what happens with that one. Let's click on the share button. And now when we scroll down, this is where we could turn off the location. Remember, this is where we could share with messages or mail. But if you scroll down, turns out you can also use it to add to album. For those of you who have watches, you can create a watch face. There's other things, but right now we can add it to album. Now the signs album was the last one I created, so it's showing up here, but I don't want to add it to that. I just want to add it to this album. So I'm going to click from there to albums, and then I go back to the same place as before. I choose the album. Now, I, this is where you were stopped, Georgia. This is where you said you couldn't put them where you wanted. So
Yeah.
what happens when you choose the album? It's just a different way to get to the same spot. But now, if I want to add those two, and it was landscapes. So I'm going to go to the Europe trip myself, and here's my landscapes. I have 10 photos. I'm going to select, and it will end up with 12. I click on that, and that's it. They've been added. Now it doesn't show me anything other than me going all the way back to my albums, back to my Europe trip,
Oh,
back to my landscape, and there it is. Those two are there, right? So that's the only way to know if they did go there.
it did work. At least it got rid of the check. What was happening before is I'd do it, then I'd go back to the library and I'd still have the checks on it and it wouldn't be in the thing. But
So,
doing it this way, it did.
so it was that final selecting of the album you wanted that this
Yeah.
time worked and before it hadn't worked. Well, there you go. Now you found a
Thank you.
different way to do it. Okay.
Yes.
So, guys, if I know that Blas had his hand up. If anyone else has a question, please raise your hands. Yes, Blas, what's your question?
My question is related to photos, but not what you've been discussing is albums. When I took a lot of screenshots
Mm-hmm.
from YouTube, I was watching a YouTube video and took some screenshots.
Yeah.
It doesn't show up on my photo library. It was showing up what is called saved photos. Now I can't find that saved photos, and it still hasn't shown up on my library.
Oh, on your phone, you
On
did?
my phone, yes.
Okay. Let me just, it should, so here, I'm gonna do a screenshot of this right now. Okay, what you're seeing.
Okay.
A quick screenshot, right? And so the screenshot pops down here, okay? And if I ignore it and do nothing, it will, in a little bit, disappear there. So now when I go to my photos, in my photos library in a second, there it is. It showed up. See, that's my screenshot.
Yes, I've done it in the past. It's worked, but recently, in the last couple of days, it doesn't do that anymore.
You have a new phone.
No, same phone. Haven't
What
upgrade. I haven't.
phone version do you have?
Well, the 16, I think.
Because in my new phone, on my iPhone 15, not my new phone, but newer than this one, the screenshot process is a little bit different. And I'm wondering if maybe you canceled out of them. Anyway, but here where you would find them, just to see, is if you go down, down, down to media types, one of the media types is screenshots. So can you click on screenshots to see if you find it? Because that's where it should be. This is the one I just took.
Yeah, I found them by going to that question mark at the top next to the select. I put screenshots, and I found them that way, but it's not showing up
Media types.
on my photo library, which is fine as long as I can find it.
All
But
right.
I'm
Got it. But do you see them under media types?
oh,
Screenshots. Go and do see first if you see them there.
so I'm on media types, and what do I click on?
Screenshots.
Oh, screenshot. I don't have under media types. I don't have screenshot choice.
Huh. Um,
I have video, selfie, live photos, and portrait, but no screenshots.
huh. So it doesn't consider it a screenshot.
I don't have screenshots on my phone either. I have the 14 Pro Max and Blas has the 14 Plus, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, this one is a 10. Let me go look in my other phone because you said they appeared on the saved, but this isn't a saved as if someone shared it with you. Let me go into my newer phone and I'm pretty 100% sure that I see my, oh yeah. Yeah, I just did some recipe screenshots the other day. And they are showing up just fine. And if I go to my collections under media types, I see screenshots. So that's crazy because on both my phones, new and old, under at the worst case scenario, under media types, I would see them, and in my library, I see them. So there might be some restriction. There is a place where
Oh, I found it.
there is a place where they can choose to not show screenshots. For some people, it's not the same as photos. You found it?
Yeah, I found it. Yeah. I actually hit the media types at the very top, has an arrow, and I hit that, and then it came up.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's some people who don't want to see on the midst of their photos their screenshots. There's a way to exclude them.
No, you know what it is, Diana? It's just so when we're in photos and you see media types and you see video, selfies, live photos, and portraits, we just needed to either scroll over or click on media types. That's why.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's why
Remember how I said either you see them one by one or you click on the top. Okay, so this is what she's saying. Remember that I had mentioned you guys? Thanks for saying that. When you go to these media types, it just shows that or utilities. And if you want to see them all, either you have to scroll over to see them all or click on the word and then you'll see everything that you have. Okay. If you click on this arrow, you see all the utilities. Or you have to scroll, 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 scroll to see all the utilities. I prefer to just click on that arrow and see all my utilities. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yes.
But that still doesn't explain why you don't see it in your library, though.
Yeah.
That is more confusing. And I do know that there's a way to exclude. Here, go to here in this little arrow here. I'm going to go and filter, and I think you can exclude. Oh, there we go. That's probably what you did. You probably excluded. Okay, so do you see this little arrow right here?
I clicked on it.
Okay, go to filter and make sure that you are seeing all items and
Yeah.
not like you might have turned to see only screen.
I don't have that. I don't see the screenshots on mine.
Okay.
That's all.
Sort and view options. Under view options, show screenshots.
I don't see that view options.
Okay, so here,
Oh, okay. Okay.
see this arrow that I see here
Yeah, I did that.
on the arrow, view options.
I'm on view options.
And if screenshots is turned off, then it doesn't show you screenshots. So you need to
So how do I know it's turned off? I see the screenshots.
if
Exactly
it
like
has
yours.
no check mark, it's off. If it has check mark, it's on.
Oh, I see. Okay, now I put the check mark. I don't know why it went on by itself. Anyway,
Maybe I've brought you here before, and maybe by mistake, just touching it turns it off. See how quick it is? And I brought you here to show the square photo grid and stuff, and maybe you pressed on that by mistake. And so
perhaps.
you can see them.
Yeah, thank you.
Now you can see them. Cool. There you go. Great question. What else? Looking at the time, if there's no other questions, I am going to proceed. But I want to make sure first to get all of these questions handled. Let me see, it's 4:14, so we still have half an hour. That's great. We're going to do keywords. Just wanted to make sure that everything on the phone was answered because keywords cannot be done from the phone. They can be seen on the phone, though. They can be used on the phone. So for searches, so it's really useful anyway, but you have to make keywords on the computer. Okay. So everyone make sure that you have, give me a second. I'm doing something here. Give me 1 second. I need to do something here on the side. Okay. Let me share my screen. here we go. All right. Are we all back on the computer now, everyone? Are you all awake still? Actually, I'm going to share my entire screen, not just my window, because what I need to do needs to show the top. All right. So keywords. What's keywords? There's different there's different ways of organizing your photos that we've seen. This is the first one where we have pure our own choice. Albums is the first time it's our own choice that we're making. The rest is the computer finding stuff for us, and we can at most add or take away from a memory, add or take away from people. Yeah. But the albums was completely us. But sometimes you want to mark things in a way that later you can use them to find them, but you don't necessarily need to make albums of them. Now, if you only have 10 albums, you're like, what's the problem making albums? Well, you'll get to a point where you might have, 200 albums when you really start going into that. And at some point, it can be too much, too many. But you still want to be able to, at some point, find all the wedding photos. So over here, you made an album called Best Wedding Photos, right? And so you have 20 photos, your daughter's wedding. But you really have probably 200 photos of your daughter's wedding. But you don't want to make a whole album of 200 photos of your daughter's wedding. You only wanted the best ones. That's it. But then at some point you go, oh, there might have been a photo of Aunt Polly and she just passed away, but she was at the wedding. Let me go look at the wedding photos again. And suddenly you're like, God, was the wedding in 2012 or 2013? Or where can I find, like you need to find all those wedding photos again, even though you're fine, you're sure you don't need them anymore. You got your 20 best photos. What if you want to go see those 20 photos again? And now you have to start scrolling through all the years to find those wedding photos. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Well, you could have keyworded them all wedding, which doesn't make an album of them, although you can make an album out of keywords. You know how one of the possible things in the Smart Album was an album made out of keywords. But it turns out that you could have put a keyword on them, and keyword is fast and easy to do, and you can maybe put only, 1,000 photos in your albums out of your 20,000 photos, but you could have keyworded a lot of your photos so that they'd all searchable with keywords, even if you didn't put them in albums. So let's show you what that's all about. Let's head back to the library. And now I'm going to go and find all the photos of my trip to Europe, all of them, right? So I back up and I go to the very first one, at least that I have here, which is this one. And now I'm going to scroll down. Keep scrolling because I brought in a lot of those. I was tired of the same old photos in my samples, and so I decided to have new ones. And here is my last Europe photo. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key and I'm going to click on this one. So now I have 350 photos. You can see over here in the info window, 350 photos have been chosen. Okay, 350 photos. And I am going to create a keyword for it. And already when I look at my info window, so if you don't have your info window turned on, please turn it on. We see here it says 350 photos, April 20, June 1st, 2.9 gigabytes, various titles, added caption. And then in my case, I see three things in blue because I already have some keywords, but you might not have any keywords. So, but this thing, if you don't have any keywords, it will say the word keywords. Just like it says caption or various titles, it will say the word keywords. Mine doesn't say keywords because these are keywords. I'm going to show you in a minute. But now I'm going to click in here and I'm going to make a keyword called Europe trip. I guess I'll just call it Europe. Trip to Europe.
Better put a date.
What?
You probably need to put a date because I think you travel a lot.
No, I'm trying to think because in this sample I don't have many, but or maybe let's call this one Camino. The word Camino is a shortcut for Camino de Santiago, Compostela, which was what I did, which is the whole tiny trip. So I'm going to write the word Camino to that. So I'm going to write Camino. So that to me means this trip, very specific trip. So I wrote the word Camino. You can write something that's very distinctive. And then I'm going to hit I'm going to hit the return. So it's turned into a keyword. Now, we're going to talk much more about keywords, but that word camino, if I now look at some of the pictures that I called camino, now there's a little tag on them, like a little price tag. See that price tag? Little price tag, little price tag. Because when we went to view metadata, we turned on the choice for keywords. And so when we turn on the choice for keywords, that means that we see them as a little icon. We also see a location key there that shows me that this one has both versus this one next to it does not have a location tag. And if I click on this window, there's no location to it. And it doesn't have a keyword tag because I haven't keyworded it. When I click on this one, it does have a location. So here's a location tag, but it's not keyworded versus this one is a location tag and it has a keyword and it has a face. So it has the keyword Camino, it has a face that's me, and it has a location. Does that make sense? It has all three. So now, what was the point? On this Europe trip 2025, I have separated specific things that I want to remember. My tiles, my landscapes, my path, my cobblestones, my buildings, my flamenco singers. But say that I'm done editing because that's all I cared about for Europe trip, right? How about a year from now, 2 years from now, or next week or next month? I'm in my library and I don't know, I'm way over here in 2005 or whatever. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember that photo that I took during the Camino. What dates were that? I need to go find my Camino. Well, I can just go to the search and I'm going to write the word Camino. And my keyword Camino and those little AA, that's me writing Camino. 350 photos appear, right? I would have never been able to do a search with the word Camino before and have anything come out. Now I wrote Camino, but you could have written, you know, whatever keyword you created. And here it is, all my 350 photos. So they have separated from the entire library, and here they are. So now out of 350 photos, I can go, oh yeah, that's the photo I meant. And it's flowers where I took these gorgeous poppy flowers, but I did know that I took this photo when I was in Europe. And so I'm like, there we go. I found them. Thank you. And now I can select them all and I can drag them maybe to flowers, nature photos and plants and flowers. There we go. I'm going to drag these and put them in flowers because they weren't there before. So now when I go to flowers, I've just added those. Okay. But I remember that I had taken those poppy flowers and during the Camino, and I wouldn't have been able to find them otherwise because I hadn't labeled them as poppies or anything. So that's an example of using keywords. So how did I create it? By putting it in that info window. There's more ways to create keywords, but that's one way. And then you can search it. So instead of having to have made a whole folder with all my 350 photos, which by the way, in my real album, it's bazillions of photos I took. But here I brought over 350. Instead of having to make an album called All Trip 350, right? Instead of doing that, I just put in a keyword for all 350. So they're findable. Now, they don't need to be as extreme as that. They can also be much more detailed. So for example, if I go to my library, I might want photos of let's say I see my kayak here. I see these 3 photos are kayaks. That was a trip when we had photos of kayak. I could probably search and see if the word kayak brings me all photos of kayaks. And I'm seeing that here are photos of kayaks, but I'm not sure if, oh, I did have a kayak caption. I guess I've done this before. I'm trying to show you examples of captions. Let me show you where all my keywords are first. I have made keywords in this class before to teach about keywords, but all these are not there. So when you go up to Window, and go to a place called Keyword Manager. And this is the Keyword Manager. So in my Keyword Manager, which right now is kind of grayed out because I don't have anything, if you pay attention in alphabetical order, B, C, D, all the way to T, down there, there's the Camino. See that?
Yeah.
So what's the point of having the Keyword Manager? I've created my Camino. I've already done it. I've put the Camino tag on everything, right? But what if now I just see that the kayak ABC, is the kayak one created? No, if no. I don't see the kayak one. So I'm going to select this one. I'm going to select a photo, right? When I select a photo, everything went dark before it was all grayed out. So I'm going to select this photo and I'm going to add a keyword that doesn't exist right now, which is kayak. So I'm going to add a keyword and I'm going to write the word kayak. And I'm going to hit return. So this photo now has been tagged. See how there's a tag there? That just appeared. It wasn't there before. And if I click on it, that keyword says kayak. So that's the tag on, that's the keyword that this one has. And when I go over here, it says kayak. And when I look into my keywords manager, there's the word kayak. So I just created that by writing it there. Now, what's that? Why is that helpful? If I have my keyword manager right here, right? Then I can say, oh, this one's also kayak. And I can just click here on the word kayak and I've tagged it. Or in this case, all of that one and that one are also on my kayak. So I'm going to select those two and I'm going to click on kayak. So by having your keywords next to you, as you search through your photos, whenever you come across another image, oh, here it is, these 3. I just came upon 3 more. I'm not going to make an album called Kayak, but I've selected 3 more. I'm going to go click on the word kayak. So now I have keyworded those. So as I keep going, and you'll soon have enough labels that as you keep going, you'll go, oh, that one says arches or this one says snow. You'll be labeling them. So now next time I see some kayaks, probably has to be summer photos again, which every summer we have some kayak photos. I'm sure over here somewhere we have some more. I'm going to invent that one of these is a kayak. So I'm going to call this one kayak, just so that you can see how powerful it is. It's not about it being a kayak. It's me calling it a kayak. Okay, so that's a building. Okay. If I were to find more kayak photos, which I'm sure I have more whenever I find them, I label it. Now I can label it by clicking on this thing. I'm going to do the wrong thing again. It's a pottery thing. I'm going to call it kayak and see how suddenly that tag appeared. Or I'm going to select it here and watch. Even if I don't have this open, I know that the word kayak exists. And this is, I'm going to call this a kayak, which I know it isn't, but I'm going to call it a kayak. I'm going to add a keyword and I'm going to write the letter K. And it shows me any keywords that start with K. So I'm gonna, yeah, that's it. Whoops. Wow. Got it. That's my warning to classes coming up. Okay, so now I'm gonna I can either set return or hit the tab key or whatever, and the kayak appears over there. So I have labeled these 2 things kayak. Okay. Now, what if I'm going to label one of these Camino as well? So I'm going to select these 2 and I'm going to start rating them in Camino. But when I hit the C, there's all these different possible C. I have a lot of C keywords already, but one of them is Camino. So I don't have to rewrite it. I just click on Camino and I have just tagged those two Camino and I've tagged those two kayaks. Okay. So now forget it. I have like all my thousands of photos. And at some point I say, I want to look at all my kayak photos. So I go to my search and I write kayak, and there's a difference between things I have labeled kayak or that the computer is finding that are a kayak. And if I look for the things that the computer is finding that are a kayak, they're finding 5, but I seem to have labeled 10 of them kayak. And I click on them. Turns out that I had labeled all of these kayak, and it's like repeated. No, these are top results and then is all results. And it turns out that these two are the ones I just showed you, plus all the ones that I had already labeled. Now these are wrong. All these are wrong. So how do I get rid of them having that label? I'll just select these 3 because they're not kayaks. And I'm going to head over here and I'm going to hit a delete key. Boom. They're not kayaks. They're also not Camino. And this is the Camino tag. So I'm going to get rid of the tag. So now these 3 are not tagged anymore. See how the little tag key that the others have has disappeared from them? So when next time I go search for kayak, they won't appear because I've gotten rid of that label from them, right? But all my kayak things do appear. Now, these are the ones that I've labeled, but my computer's saying that there's some that it considers kayak. Let me click on that. And it turns out that there's 1, 2, 3 more right here that don't have a keyword label kayak. So I'm going to select them and I'm going to add that keyword to them. Here, I'm going to write kayak and it appears. Cool. And now every photo that has a kayak in my whole album or in my whole library has been tagged. But I didn't make an album called kayaks because I know that it's a keyword. And it's all across anytime I've used my kayaks. It's not a particular trip, a big vacation. It's just photos of my kayaks. So whenever, and I don't want a whole album of that, but whenever I want to look for some reason to find photos, remember when we we're on the kayaks? Yeah, let me see. I'll just go right in their kayaks and there they appear. All my photos of my kayaks, of me and my kayaks. Does that make sense? Now, one very important particular way to use these keywords, and I'm going to give you an example now, which is someone asked me to help them with their photos once, and they were very much into genealogy, and they were finding it really hard to make albums. So listen to this whole example. If anyone's into genealogy, and if you're not, then pay attention for a little bit. If I go to a group photo, let me find, I have some family photos here somewhere, big groups. In fact, I do know where, because when I went to People and Pets and we found a photo of Aaron, he was in a group photo here. So this is an example of a family, right? In this group photo, there's 3 people are from the Pettifer family, 3 from the Musacchio. That's 6 people. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 from the Bailey family. If you add up all the people that I've just given you, that's many more people than are here. What do I mean by that? Turns out that I'm a Musacchio. My husband's a Bailey, so my kids are both Bailey and Musacchio families. Same with Dustin. He's a Bailey, but his daughter is a Bailey and I forget his wife's name. And this is Lisa. She's a Bailey. She's my husband's sister, but she married a Pettifer. So her kids, now she's also a Pettifer, and her kids are all Pettifers. Does that make sense? What I mean? So there's 3 family names in here, plus Heather, whose last name I don't remember, plus her mom's name, but I don't remember. So there's 6 names 6 last names in here at all, in this family of our family tree. So if you were to make an album with the Baileys, well, do you add the ones that were originally Baileys? Like Lisa was originally Bailey, but now she's a Pettifer. That doesn't mean she doesn't belong into the Bailey family tree. Does that make sense? So my
Yes.
question is, how do you make an album of just Baileys and have her in it? But then you'd have to have the same photo in the Pettivers, and the same photo would have to be in the Musakios and the whatever. So this is a genealogy is a perfect place for keywords because she can be a Bailey and she can also be a Pettifer. And that one can be a Bailey, but it can also be a Musakio. And this one, you know what I'm trying to say? So what you do is in this place, I have in the keyword, I have the Baileys. And so I put in Bailey as one of the last names that is in this place. But in this place, I also have Pettifers. And I also have Musakios. So just by labeling the 3 that I have, and actually I don't remember their 2 last names, but I could, if I just put these 3 in this photo, right? Because they're all there. And I've just created them. They didn't exist before. But so then when I go later in my library, I'm like, oh, let me find all the Pettifers. I'm going to click in here and go Pettifer. And I go to my keyword Pettifer. That photo appears because one of those keywords is on it. Later, I'm looking for the Baileys and I look for the Bailey keyword and that photo appears again because there's a Bailey there. So you can use keywords for when you have a lot of mixed things. So this photo could also be a photo of being in Santa Barbara or of pepper trees or of, pets. My dog is here, whatever, down there. You can barely see it. So what I'm saying is you can put 10 tags to this one describing this photo in such a way keywords or tags are similar in other places call it tags, but and then no matter what I search, so right now I can have much more. I can call this one Santa Barbara, right? If this were a keyword. I can call this one family, if that were a keyword. Family, oh, I guess I already have. See, I put the word family and a choice of family photos came in. I guess I already had one family photos. I can call this one, it wasn't Christmas. This was probably Easter or Thanksgiving. It's there and in light clothes, but let's call this one Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, right? Maybe it's holidays. So it's many things. So next time, so when I back out and I don't have that photo, and in the future, when I'm looking for photos of when we were all photos of family groups, and I'm at family, it'll appear. There it was, family photos. Does that make sense? Without having to put albums in everything in albums, you can just start tagging things with words that make sense. Not like you get to a point that you have 850,000. Somehow sometimes it's not worth it. But if I go to my keyword manager now, I have just grown my keywords. Now I have family photos. Now I have Baileys. Now I have Musakios. Now I have Pettifers, right? They're all there as family. It doesn't matter how many I have them. Now, if for any reason some of these don't match anymore, like none of these are important anymore. So I'm going to go over here. I can like Cairo. I gave that example last class for something I called something in Paris, Cairo or whatever, but that doesn't apply. I actually don't have photos of Cairo in here. Say that there's things here that don't matter anymore. Say I don't have any oil paintings because I don't have any. So I'm going to go to edit keywords and I can say, yeah, first of all, I'm going to edit this one. I'm going to rename it because it's a typo. So I'm going to rename that and call this one holidays. Maybe I want to call it holiday celebrations because it's not holidays like in vacation. So I'm going to call this one holiday celebrations. So I can change it, right? But then Cairo, I don't want that one at all. So I can delete it by hitting this little minus. Boom. So now nothing is a finch. At one point, I remember one example I gave with birds. So I have some words labeled finch, but I don't care because that was just a sample and I don't even know what a finch looks like because I'm not a birder. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that one. Same with cardinal. I had called some things cardinals. At some point, some student said, "Okay, let's call things birds," but I don't have many birds, so that didn't really work. So I'm going to get rid of it. And robins, I think, was the last one. I'm going to get rid of all those because that doesn't mean much. The rest is good. Now look, there's something called fires in there. Oh, okay. So I'm going to go search for fire photos. Let me search for fire photos. No, it turns out, no, not fire photos. Turns out that I had somewhere in my library at some point, I had put all these photos of fire in Santa Barbara. I remember when TV Hill was burning. So I don't remember when that fire happened, but since I had keyworded it, I was able to look really quickly in my library and find the photos of that fire. Does that make sense? But would I have made an album of fires? No, not really. Do I want an album of every single time one of the pettifers appears? No, but if I keyword them, then I can just search and they come up. So that's how you use keywords. Now, I can help you walk you through them a bit more, but I wanted to show you really quickly, and I'm going to reshare because class is done in a few minutes, that if I go to my phone, there's no place in your phone for keywords, not a single place in your phone for keywords. And if I select a photo and I push up to see the metadata, it doesn't show me the keywords. It just doesn't. It does show me captions, which you saw in the info. I could have put in a caption, but there's no keywords. So what's the point of keywords if all you use is your phone? Well, in the search, they appear. So if I were to write fires in my phone, that was a keyword that I created in my computer, and there my fires appeared. You see that? If I were to write in my search, one of the ones I just created, I created Bailey's. Of Bailey's. That wasn't the keyword. Wondering if it's Bailey. They're not, the keyword's not showing up because when it says Bailey, there, it's only showing me these two photos. Maybe they haven't transferred to my computer yet. Fires was an old one. My phone, I just created those in my computer, so they haven't come up here. So let me show you others that I do know that I already have. So let me select best family. There it is, best family. And these are the best family that I have keyworded best family in the past. Okay. So yeah, the ones that I just created on my computer, those aren't yet showing up, but I have others. I have one called bicycle. So bicycle, here it is. I'm going to go to that word bicycle and click on it. See, AA is where it's keywords. And here are the photos that I have keyworded bicycle. Okay, so on the computer, even if you create them on the phone, you can't create them nor see them anywhere. The keyword manager is just on the computer. They are then really functional to search on your computer and on your phone. Okay. You guys have some homework. One is to see whether you have iMovie on your computer, and if not, download it. You have a whole week for that. But for Wednesday, I want you to create a few keywords. And since we're out of time, If you happen to have questions about keywords, I can answer them next week. But that said, the class that I had in the afternoon that I had to leave so quickly, it finished. So I don't have to leave right now. So if you have a question right now, or if you can stay and you want to ask me something right now, please do so. And I do need a reminder. I think Blas had originally asked me about shared albums, or Marta. I think it was you guys. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was someone else, but I didn't get around to explaining shared albums. So can you please remind me next class to talk about shared albums? Who was it? Who had asked?
It was Marta. It
It
was
was
me.
So can you try to remember, make a note or whatever? I'll do my best. I wanted to get to shared albums, but then I noticed I had to show albums on the phone first and keywords because it's the last of the organizational issues. And shared albums is just one type of album that I will talk about, but I wanted to get to the organizational stuff today. So I hope to get to the end of it, but I didn't, but please remind me. But I don't want to explain it now that I have time because it's time for class to end and some people need to leave. But we'll explain it. Okay. Any other questions? Not something new, but questions about we've explained that I can help you with before you can all leave if you're done. But if you have any lingering questions today, I can stay a little bit longer.
The lightning around the photo.
Oh, well, that is new, but it is kind of, yeah, I'll just show it to you really quickly because I try not to teach something new after but
I can wait.
that's okay. Let me just show it to you and then you can remind me. So when you have a photo that has a very, very obvious, distinct subject, right? So say, for example, here's a photo of me. It's very clear, even if really I wanted to take a picture of the aqueduct, it's clearly me. Or in this case, this flower, something that is very distinct. So it wouldn't work, for example, in a photo like this. It's like, what's really the object here, right? But in a photo like this, yeah, okay? So in a photo like that, if you click, and it only works on the phone, okay? If you click on that thing that's the object, you'll see this kind of like white line that when you let go begins to like go up and down your object. And what it's doing, it's the phone has isolated the object from the background and you can, I know, I already finished the class. My phone's like, let him go. Then I can either copy it to paste it in something, or I can create a sticker out of it, or I can share this with someone. So what are these three things? Well, if I copy right now, for example, I copied. I could now go and make an email and paste it, or send a text and paste it, or make a note. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to make a note for some reason. It's the one I want to do. I'm going to click a new note and I'm going to just paste it in here. Click and paste. And there. I have not done the rest of the photo, just that little bit that got isolated. Does that make sense? I could have texted this to someone. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my photos app and see how I didn't bring in the sky. I'm going to find the peacock. Here we go. I don't know how it's going to cut the feathers well. This one might not work too well. Yeah, it's only going to cut the bird part. It's going to leave those feathers up. But also in this case, I can look it up and it's probably going to tell me it's a peacock. Let me see. Yeah, Indian peafowl. Okay, so it is giving me that, but that's one part of the choice. Okay, I'm going to click on it again. And as long as I can do this, I can say share. And I can now, when I say share, again, it opens messages or mail. I can send it to someone, or I can, save it to the files or put it in, or I can copy it again. Right, I can message this to someone now. In this phone, the messages doesn't work, the text doesn't work, but I can mail it to someone. So I can go ahead and mail it to DE Musakio at Pipeline. So I can email this peacock. And I can send myself, and I'm going to send it small. I just sent myself that peacock picture. Now, more importantly, what's a sticker? So let me go and make a sticker. Let me see. Here's the shadow. See if it recognizes it. No, see when I put my finger in here, it's not doing it. It doesn't see the fact that it's not doing that, it's because it's not a subject enough. Okay, I'm just going to go with me. So I'm going to click on this person and here it is. I can add a sticker. Okay, so what's that? What's a sticker? It adds itself to something called stickers. And you can see from this class that I have done, this is each time I teach this, I make a new sticker. So I've made stickers of tomatoes, of flowers. This one that I just showed you before, us on a bike, portraits. Okay, so I've made a sticker. Okay, so what's that sticker? What is a sticker good for? Well, for example, I can go to my text, which I told you in this phone. It doesn't work too much, but I'm going to go and create a new text to someone. I'm not going to send it because I don't, this isn't working, but I'm going to go ahead and, when you write things, you go dee 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 dee, happy birthday or anything like that. Well, you can also add stickers or emojis. So if I go down here and look for my little emojis,
You have to go down a little lower.
sorry, one my finger was on there's a little in
There
Zoom.
you are.
In Zoom, I have a thing here that's in the way of that icon. It's my annotation when I give you guys pencils and stuff. Let me move it out of the way. There we go.
There's your sticker.
My
There's
sticker.
when you just
There's the sticker that I made a bit earlier, right? So I can add that sticker or I can get that, right? I'm going to delete all those little words that I put in there. And I'm just putting a little sticker myself. When you put just a sticker, it gets big. When you put words, test, and you try to put the stickers, then it just goes to the size, like emojis do, the size of the text, right? Here's those tomatoes I told you about. So they show up together with right in front of your emojis. Here's the flower. Again, if it's on its own, without words, then it goes in pretty big. So then you can send someone your sticker.
Deanna, where do you find the stickers? I've made one, but now I can't find it.
Go down to your emojis.
I got the emojis, yeah.
And then if you scroll up and down your emojis, in my case, it's in front of them. And if not, at the bottom here, when you can click on these little tiny, tiny choices there,
Right.
and I believe is your stickers. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
And it's just your stickers that you
I see it was a face and it stuck it in with the faces.
Yeah, it's either that or it's amongst all of them. And then you're like, oh, okay, it's hard to find, but yeah. Either it's
Is there a way to remove that once we've made it?
I believe so. Let me see if I go over here to the sticker and click and hold. Yeah,
Oh no, I got it. Yeah.
click and hold and delete it. There we go. I deleted the lamppost one. Okay.
Got it. Okay.
So that's an example of what happens when you make that little line. Since it wasn't hugely important, if people don't see this, it doesn't matter too much. But if not, remind me, I'll tell people to watch the last little bit of today's recording so they can figure out what to do with those lines. All right, guys. Any other questions? All right.
Deanna, I do have a question, and obviously we don't have time, and I don't know if you're going to be covering it, but I noticed that when I
Fine.
was looking at memory, what's taking up storage,
Yeah.
the health app.
Yeah. The health app is part of what comes with the phone. It functions if you care about health stats, like if you have a smartwatch that measures your sleep, your temperature, EKGs, all that stuff, it all appears in the health app. But if you don't have a smartwatch and you just carry the phone around with you, it'll keep track of your steps that you walked as long as your phone is on your body, right? That kind of stuff. So it depends on if you care any about all of that. If you use a smartwatch, you definitely care enough because that's the whole point of the smartwatch. And then you want to track, blood pressure. It just tracks a bunch of stuff. But if you don't care about any of that, you can just not have it. You can delete it. But it
Okay.
doesn't take up much space, is what I'm saying, because it's just data. It's like little numbers. It's not photos or images or anything. So it's not an app that would really take up any real space on your computer. But it is one less to have if it bugs you to have all those icons that you don't use.
Okay, thank you.
Well, one more quick question. When you delete photos from the message app, it doesn't delete it from the Photos app, correct?
Oh, and that is an important place to save space. Deleting photos from your messages app that you already, now, if you've sent them out, you have them in your messages app, in your photos app, but now you have it twice. So it's a good place to delete the ones you've sent. But if you receive them, if you download it into your photos app, then delete it from the messages. But if you didn't download it from the photos app and you leave it in your messages and you delete it, then it's gone from your phone forever. So if you want it, download it. Say it was a cute photo of your granddaughter that you want, download it into your Photos app, then delete it. Because if you leave it in your messages, it'll just scroll away. And in a few weeks, you won't never see it anymore, but it's still taking up space on your phone, right? So if you want the photo, download it and then delete it. But if you don't want it, delete it directly and it won't stay on your phone at all. And that's good too, both ways, depending if you want it or not. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys. I'll see you on Wednesday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.